Chapter 478. Lu Yuan took a few steps back and looked at Chihiro Snow and the other two calmly. He was very calm. He was very clear about his current strength. Even if he didn't use his Polychoria and Sea God's divine skill, it wouldn't be too difficult for him to defeat Chihiro Snow and the other two. After all, the soul rings of the Titan giant ape weren't just for show. Furthermore, he had an additional domain now. Chihiro Snow's angel domain wouldn't have any effect on him anymore. However, Chihiro Snow probably didn't think of this at all. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Lu Yuan and Hu Yuhao were facing each other on this side. Bibidon was not far from them, holding his scepter and watching them. Since Lu Yuan said that he wanted her to see his strength, Bibidon would naturally be there. She also wanted to know how much progress Lu Yuan had made in order to be so confident. That confidence didn't come out of nowhere. It came from his bones. Confidence came from his own strength. Only when he was strong enough could he have the confidence to be fearless. This wasn't something that could be done with just his mouth. Therefore, she wanted to see how strong Lu Yuan was for him to be so confident. Abuchi, it's starting. Hulena smiled at Lu Yuan. She channeled her soul power and instantly possessed her martial soul. Her superb martial soul, the nine-tailed celestial fox, shone brightly. Her ears became pointed and fluffy white fur grew on them. Her 9 white fox tails swayed in the air behind her. Her pink eyes blinked and had a strange charm. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple, and black soul rings rose from her body. Martial soul possession, Zhu Zhuqing shouted softly. Dense black light condensed behind her as the 9 lives cat's martial soul instantly possessed her. Zhu Zhuqing's ears turned into furry cat ears, and a slender black cat tail swayed slightly behind her. Her originally pitch-black lively big eyes, under the state of martial soul possession, became a clear blue like sapphires, pure and containing a faint majesty. Yellow, yellow, purple, black, and black soul rings shone brightly below her body. Angel, possession. Qian Renxue also let out a low roar. Instantly, a holy golden light spread, and a mysterious and ancient chant could be heard. Behind Qian Renxue, a beautiful angel with 8 snow-white wings opened her arms slightly. Beneath Qian Renxue, 6 soul rings of yellow, yellow, purple, purple, and black appeared one after another. A powerful aura pressed down in Lu Yuan's direction. Not a bad aura. Lu Yuan laughed softly. He channeled his soul power from the Clear Air Sutra. Bright golden light burst out and a loud dragon roar resounded through the sky. The huge golden dragon behind him flapped its wings slightly. A tyrannical and domineering dragon's aura instantly filled the entire place. It suppressed Chihiro Snow's aura. At the same time, soul rings began to appear on his body one after another. Purple. The first soul ring that appeared was purple. After the system's reward of 5,000 years and the angel god's reward of 500 years, Lu Yuan's first soul ring had increased from 800 years to 6,300 years. Therefore, the first soul ring that appeared was dark purple. Purple. The second soul ring appeared. It was still purple, or more accurately, purplish black. This meant that this 1,000-year soul ring was extremely close to 10,000 years. Lu Yuan's second soul ring came from the super soul beast, the golden armored dragon turtle. At that time, this golden armored dragon turtle was 3,500 years old. Together with the system's 5,000 years and the angel god's reward of 500 years, this soul ring's age had reached 9,000 years. 9,000 years was extremely close to 10,000 years, so the purple soul ring had a rich black color. Black. The third soul ring appeared. The third soul ring that originally came from a 15,000-year dark golden terraclaw bear had now reached 20,000 years. Black. The fourth soul ring was still black, but different from the third soul ring. This soul ring was as black as ink and deeper. This soul ring was originally a limitless soul ring rewarded by the system. At that time, Lu Yuan had pushed it to 60,000 years. Now, it was more than 65,000 years old. After the appearance of the fourth soul ring, a strong pressure began to spread, and a strange red light suddenly appeared under Lu Yuan's body. The red light became denser and denser, and finally, it was completely revealed at a certain moment, forming a red ring. Red. Lu Yuan's fifth soul ring was neither purple nor black, but a demonic blood red. Purple, purple, black, black, and red. 5 soul rings gently rippled under Lu Yuan's body. As soon as these 5 soul rings appeared, Lu Yuan's aura soared in an instant. Not only did he completely suppress Chihiro Snow's aura, the dragon's might that belonged to the golden dragon directly pressed on the 3 of them. This made the 3 of them feel their bodies sink at the same time, and there was a huge pressure on their bodies out of thin air. However, they didn't care about this. Their eyes were focused on the red soul ring under Lu Yuan's body, and their faces were filled with intense shock. 100,000-year soul ring? Chihiro Snow's mouth was slightly open, and her eyes were filled with intense shock. She looked at the smiling Lu Yuan not far away and felt a little incredulous. Abuchi's 5th soul ring was actually a 100,000-year soul ring. How was this possible? 100,000-year soul ring. Bibidon, who was watching from the side, was also shocked. The graceful and elegant temperament that she had cultivated for many years as the Pope was instantly broken. Her heart was surging with waves. This disciple of hers actually had a 100,000-year soul ring. She had been looking for a 100,000-year soul ring because she also needed a 100,000-year soul ring. It was very important for her divine exam. However, how could a 100,000-year soul beast be so easy to find? Even her second martial soul, the soul-devouring Spider Emperor, had several 10,000-year soul rings. Because 100,000-year soul rings were too rare, she had to use 10,000-year soul rings as a substitute. However, this disciple of hers actually had a 100,000-year soul ring. Moreover, it was the 5th soul ring. This was simply a subversive existence. 100,000-year 5th soul ring, other than twin martial soul masters who could add a soul ring to their second martial soul, it was impossible for others to have such an opportunity. But now, Lu Yuan had done it. He had achieved an achievement that no soul master on the continent had ever achieved. His first martial soul had reached a 100,000-year soul ring. In this aspect, in Bibidon's impression, Lu Yuan was definitely the first person. Looking at Lu Yuan, her eyes couldn't help but have a trace of extraordinary splendor. Her heart was filled with strong pride. This was the disciple that she, Bibidon, had nurtured. He was worthy of being called the strongest genius on the continent, a true genius. In front of him, those so-called geniuses were all overshadowed. This era was destined to belong to him, to her disciple. Chapter 479. Zhu Zhuqing's lips parted slightly when she saw Lu Yuan's blood-red 100,000-year soul ring. She was shocked at first, but then a strong sense of excitement and pride welled up in her heart. Her eyes were also filled with a strong sense of pride. This was Zhu Zhuqing's man. He was definitely a dragon among men. She was very glad that she didn't choose the wrong person. This man would dominate the world sooner or later. Being able to follow by his side and receive his love was definitely the happiest thing in her life. If Chihiro Snow's eyes were filled with shock, and Zhu Zhuqing's eyes were filled with pride, then Helena's eyes were filled with shock. Then, she sank into deep frustration. We've been tricked by junior brother again. Helena's red lips curled up slightly. She thought that the 3 of them would definitely win after she proposed that her junior brother not use his polychoria and that he took the initiative to seal the sea god's divine skill. However, her junior brother did this again. 500,000-year soul rings. How are we going to fight? Helena's confidence dropped as she thought about it. She thought that they had won back some ground, but she didn't expect to be tricked by her junior brother again. This junior brother is really bad. He has so many tricks up his sleeve. He's just trying to trick his dear senior sister. Her junior brother was already very strong, and now he has a 100,000-year soul ring. Even if he doesn't use his sea god's divine skill and polychoria, he's still a little despairing. After all, a 100,000-year soul ring was a legendary existence. Who knew how much it could enhance her junior brother? Do I really have to be with Chihiro Snow tonight? Helena's face flushed red as she thought about it. If it was just her junior brother, then she didn't mind doing whatever she wanted. However, With Chihiro Snow, she was a little shy. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile as he looked at the three girls with different expressions. He knew that they would be shocked when he revealed his 100,000-year soul ring. When the fifth ring of a 100,000-year soul ring appeared, it would definitely be an extremely shocking thing. It's about to start. Lu Yuan opened his right hand. A dazzling golden light condensed in his hand, and the golden dragon spear appeared. Lu Yuan brandished his spear, and a vigorous fighting spirit spread out from his body. It's starting. Chihiro Snow held the Class 6 angelic holy sword that Lu Yuan had once crafted. He poured his soul power into it, and the holy sword started to burn with golden angelic flames. Hulena, you're in charge of control. Zhu Zhuqing, you're in charge of attacking from the sides. Leave the front to me. Chihiro Snow stared intently at Lu Yuan, her expression exceptionally grave. Lu Yuan's 100,000-year soul ring gave her immense pressure. Even Chihiro Snow wasn't sure how strong Lu Yuan was with his 100,000-year soul ring. However, she knew that if the three of them didn't work together, they would definitely lose. She knew Lu Yuan's capabilities better than anyone else. After listening to Chihiro Snow's words, the two women nodded and agreed with her arrangement. You've arranged everything, right? Then I'm coming. Lu Yuan smiled. He stomped his foot, and a deep hole appeared in the ground. Lu Yuan flew out of it. Cher, watch out for my spear. Lu Yuan moved and pounced towards Chihiro Snow. To him, Chihiro Snow was his main opponent. Hulena and Zhu Zhuqing were still a little inexperienced. Lu Yuan was extremely quick. His golden dragon spear was as quick as lightning. It carried dense golden light as it stabbed towards Chihiro Snow. Chihiro Snow's third soul ring lit up. Golden light gathered on his Class 6 angelic holy sword and formed a huge sword of light. He slashed it towards Lu Yuan. It was Chihiro Snow's third soul skill, Angelic Light Blade. The golden dragon spear clashed with the angelic light blade. Under Lu Yuan's immense strength, the angelic light blade was shattered into specks of light. Chihiro Snow took this opportunity to distance himself from Lu Yuan. She had sparred with Lu Yuan before. She naturally understood Lu Yuan's strongest close combat abilities. If she fought Lu Yuan in close combat, she would definitely lose. If she wanted to win, she had to distance herself from him first. Qian Runxue retreated as soon as she came into contact with Lu Yuan. Just as Lu Yuan was about to give chase, a black stream of light flashed beside him and a sharp claw that was condensed with a black glow grabbed at his chest. It turned out that Zhu Zhuqing's attack had arrived. Netherworld Soul-Destroying Claw? Lu Yuan immediately recognized the soul skill that Zhu Zhuqing was using. It was her second soul skill, Netherworld Soul-Destroying Claw. Not only did it possess immense offensive strength, but it also had the ability to pierce through armor. If Lu Yuan didn't block it, this attack could really break through his defenses. However, since he had taken it into consideration, it was impossible for her to hurt him. He took a step back and dodged Zhu Zhuqing's attack. His right hand changed direction and grabbed towards Zhu Zhuqing's wrist. With Lu Yuan's current strength, Zhu Zhuqing would basically be out of the game early if he were to grab her. Lu Yuan was very quick. However, Zhu Zhuqing was also a Soul King now. She also had the fastest reaction time, the 9 lives lynx. Before Lu Yuan's hand grabbed her, Zhu Zhuqing used a strange footwork and dodged Lu Yuan's attack. Hey! You've actually used the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions to this extent. Not bad, Zhuqing. Lu Yuan had a look of surprise on his face. He didn't use his full strength when he tried to grab her, but Zhu Zhuqing was able to dodge it. This was enough to show that her reaction time and speed were much faster than before. This is a little interesting. The corner of Lu Yuan's mouth curled up slightly. They had just started fighting, but Zhu Zhuqing and the others had already given him a surprise. He was even more interested now. He wanted to see how much these 3 women had improved. Lu Yuan was just about to chase after Zhu Zhuqing when a voice suddenly sounded. He couldn't help but tilt his head to look. "Junior brother, look over here." A soft voice with a tinge of numbness entered his ears. Lu Yuan's eyes turned slightly. He saw Helena in a seductive pose. She was holding a snow-white fox tail in her jade-like hand. She swayed it gently, and her pink eyes flickered with a strange undulation. There was an indescribable charm emanating from her. "Junior brother, do you think I'm beautiful?" Helena blinked her beautiful eyes and winked at Lu Yuan. Suddenly, an invisible charm enveloped Lu Yuan. A strange spiritual undulation followed his senses and surged into Lu Yuan's mind. "I think it's all right. It's barely passable." Lu Yuan's eyes were clear. With the clear aura and godly power, Helena's charm didn't have much of an effect on him. As for why his chi and blood would become restless every time he was with Helena, it was because he didn't resist at all. Instead, he enjoyed it. However, he was in a battle right now, so he only had to circulate his soul force to completely dispel Helena's charms. Chapter 480. Barely passable. Seeing the smile on Lu Yuan's face, and his tone, which sounded like he wasn't very satisfied with her looks, Helena was furious. Seeing Lu Yuan's smiling face, she really wanted to punch him. This despicable junior brother, he was clearly so infatuated with my body in the morning, but now he's saying that I'm barely passable. P2E, what a heartless junior brother. You don't even recognize me after eating your fill. Helena pouted her red lips slightly. Seeing that Lu Yuan wasn't affected at all, she knew that her seduction had failed again. Oh my god, how many times has it been? Her seduction had never seemed to have any effect on her junior brother, which made Helena a little disheartened. Her strongest abilities were her seduction and spiritual control abilities, but her junior brother wasn't affected by them. He was really her nemesis. She still wanted to see her junior brother being bewitched by her one day, but it seemed like it was impossible now. Seeing Helena's appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but find it funny. How could Lu Yuan not know what she was thinking? However, it was impossible for him to be bewitched by her seduction. To him, although it was 1 against 3, it was actually 1 against 2.5. Helena could only be considered half, and her skills were completely useless against Lu Yuan. Helena was very strong. Although she was only rank 59, normal soul emperors wouldn't be able to escape from her seduction. It was a pity that she met Lu Yuan, who was almost immune to spiritual skills. Naturally, this was a place where heroes were useless. 4th soul skill, falling golden feathers. Just as Lu Yuan and Helena were looking at each other, Chihiro Snow took the opportunity to unleash his 5th soul skill, falling golden feathers. This was an area of effect skill. Oh, Cher, you're not obedient. You actually launched a sneak attack. A faint smile appeared on Lu Yuan's face at the sight of the countless golden feather blades in the sky. He waved his golden dragon spear through the air, and streams of water formed a massive golden vortex that shielded Lu Yuan's body. Powerful engulfment power erupted forth, engulfing all of the golden feather blades in the sky. This is... In mid-air, Chihiro Snow had a look of shock on his face. It was another move that he had never seen before. Self-created soul skill, spear technique, whirlpool. My 3rd self-created spear technique. Seeing the shock on Chihiro Snow's face, Lu Yuan laughed softly. G spear art, vast ocean. Spear art, meteor. Lu Yuan finally created the 3rd spear art, vortex. Different from spear technique, vast ocean and spear technique, meteor, whirlpool was a defensive spear technique. Its effect was to neutralize attacks and swallow them. After spending a year in the Great Stardew Forest, aside from comprehending the Great Void Dragon, his other masterpiece was Whirlpool. It was because he had spent a lot of effort on his self-created soul skill. Otherwise, how could he have only risen by 2 ranks in a place like the core area, where spiritual energy was abundant? Wasn't it because he had spent a lot of time on his self-created soul skill during the day and hugged Gu Yuana to sleep at night? If he had put all his effort into cultivating, he would have been rank 59 by now, the same rank as Helena. Spear technique, whirlpool? Another self-created spear technique? Chihiro Snow had a look of amazement on his face. He looked at Lu Yuan with eyes full of praise and admiration. This man is truly a genius. Other people who had created a self-created soul skill were considered top-notch geniuses. But in his hands, it was as if it was at his fingertips. He really is worthy of being my man. Chihiro Snow's lips couldn't help but curl into a smile. His heart was filled with joy. It seemed that being able to meet Ibuchi in this life was really not bad. Chihiro Snow thought to himself. Spear technique, whirlpool? Not far away, Bibidon, who was quietly watching Lu Yuan and the others, couldn't help but smile. His disciple really didn't seem like an ordinary person. His talent in self-created soul skills was really too shocking. At such a young age, one self-created soul skill after another was simply endless. However, these were all his own talents. Speaking of which, Bibidon was ashamed. As a teacher, he really didn't teach him much. His disciple could basically be considered a self-taught genius. Bibidon was a little disappointed when he thought of this. His disciple was too outstanding. As a teacher, he was also very helpless. This was because there was basically nothing he could teach him. After today, I'll give Ibuchi a surprise tomorrow. This is the only thing I can give him as a teacher. Bibidon's eyes were filled with love and concern as she looked at Lu Yuan, who was standing not far away. This disciple could be said to be her treasure. In her heart, he was even more important than Hulena and Chihiro Snow. That position would be Ibuchi's sooner or later. So now, I'll let Ibuchi take another step forward. Bibidon thought to herself. Lu Yuan held the golden dragon spear in his hand. There was a smile on his face, and his expression was very relaxed. To him, this wasn't a battle, but a game. In the first 2 minutes, he easily dispelled the 3 girls' attacks. If you have any other skills, use them. Otherwise, this battle will be over soon. Lu Yuan smiled as he held the golden dragon spear gently. Hearing this, the 3 girls looked at each other at the same time. After that, they nodded at each other. Second soul skill, Void Wings. Chihiro Snow's second soul ring lit up. Void Wings gave him immunity to physical attacks, immunity to 50% of energy attacks, and a 30% increase in speed. After unleashing his second soul skill, Chihiro Snow held his Class 6 holy sword and slashed it towards Lu Yuan. On the other side, Zhu Zhuqing's figure appeared. Her third soul ring lit up, and her body split into 6. Third soul skill, Nether Shadow Doppelganger. Hulena wagged her foxtail and used her charm skill on Lu Yuan. Even if her charm skill was ineffective against Lu Yuan, she could still harass him. This was also why Lu Yuan counted Hulena as half of his soul skills. 6 black figures surrounded Lu Yuan. Zhu Zhuqing's figure turned into a series of afterimages. This was a result of her speed reaching a certain level. Right now, Zhu Zhuqing's Phoenix Dance's 6 illusory illusions had reached an advanced stage. In addition to her third soul skill, Nether Shadow Doppelganger, her speed had reached a new height. Coupled with her Netherworld soul-breaking claw, her strength was extraordinary. Figures appeared around Lu Yuan one after another. Their sharp claws swept towards Lu Yuan continuously. However, Lu Yuan's feet moved slightly. His figure was exceptionally slippery, and he managed to dodge Zhu Zhuqing's attack every time. Another claw shadow appeared. Lu Yuan tilted his body slightly and dodged it. At this moment, a scorching golden sword slashed down towards Lu Yuan. It was Chihiro Snow's attack. Chapter 481. Heh. Lu Yuan chuckled as he abruptly thrust his golden dragon spear forward, clashing head-on with the oncoming giant sword. Bam! A massive energy shockwave rippled through the air. Lu Yuan remained completely unmoved, but Chihiro Snow was sent flying backward. Not only did Lu Yuan's spear strike contain Lu Yuan's immense strength, but it also contained the power of spear intent. Otherwise, Chihiro Snow wouldn't have been sent flying in his incorporeal state. Of course, Lu Yuan had already held back. Even though Chihiro Snow was sent flying backward, he wasn't injured at all. After all, Chihiro Snow was his favorite, and even the slightest injury would make his heart ache for a long time. If it had been Zhu Zhuqing or Hulena instead, it would have been the same. He had quite a lot of treasures in his heart. Chihiro Snow was sent flying backward, and Zhu Yuqing's claws took advantage of the moment when Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow were clashing to grab Lu Yuan's body. Her sharp claws clashed with Lu Yuan's protective scales, sending sparks flying. Immediately afterward, Zhu Yuqing's claws glowed with a faint light, and she was actually able to break through Lu Yuan's scales before grabbing directly at Lu Yuan's flesh. Right at this moment, a large, powerful hand grabbed Zhu Yuqing's wrist. An incomparably powerful force was transmitted from the large hand, and Zhu Yuqing's claws, which had already broken through the scales, were instantly unable to advance any further. "Little kitty, you've also learned how to launch sneak attacks." He flicked his finger at Zhu Yuqing's forehead, and a red mark immediately appeared on her forehead. After being rewarded by Lu Yuan with a flick of his finger, Zhu Yuqing scrunched up her pitiful little face, and she looked at Lu Yuan with a hint of resentment in her eyes. "I'm an agility-type soul master, and finding opportunities to launch sneak attacks has always been a type of tactic." Looking at Zhu Yuqing's innocent look, Lu Yuan found it funny. Zhu Yuqing was really cute like this. Pinching Zhu Yuqing's cheeks, Lu Yuan gently pulled his right hand and held Zhu Yuqing's jade-like hand in his. After being caught by Lu Yuan, how could Zhu Yuqing struggle? She could only stare at Lu Yuan. She had yet to fully display her strength. If she were to go on stage now, she was somewhat unwilling. Seeing Zhu Yuqing's expression, Lu Yuan gently pushed her away and smiled. "Not a bad tactic and sneak attack, but your sneak attack speed is still a bit slow. Come again, let me see your true strength." Lu Yuan's golden dragon spear began to radiate golden light, and a burst of powerful aura abruptly erupted forth as he activated his golden dragon bloodline. Feeling the surging bloodline power in his body, Lu Yuan nodded slightly. His vitality was really getting stronger. "It seems like I can find an opportunity to form my blood essence soul core. With it, I'll be able to use my vitality better." Lu Yuan thought to himself. Once his golden dragon bloodline appeared, the golden dragon's aura instantly filled the entire arena. Lu Yuan's body flashed with golden light, and his golden dragon armor immediately appeared on his body. The dazzling golden armor was paired with fiery red and icy blue cloud patterns, and a blood-red cloak appeared behind the armor, making it appear even more majestic. With his golden armor and blood-red cloak, and the golden dragon spear in his hand, Lu Yuan looked like a god of war right now. When he encountered the Blood Emperor, Lu Yuan's golden dragon battle armor had been smashed to pieces. After the Titan giant ape's sacrifice, not only had the golden dragon battle armor recovered completely, it had even undergone a transformation. The golden dragon armor, which was originally only 5,000 kilograms, doubled in weight to 20,000 kilograms. At the same time, its defensive capabilities were also greatly increased. A blood-red cloak formed from energy grew behind the armor. This cloak wasn't just a decoration, its defensive capabilities were also very good. It was also immune to water, fire, and poison. Once the golden dragon armor appeared, Lu Yuan's aura suddenly increased by a lot. His eyes were sharp as he swept his gaze across the three of them. "I was just warming up earlier, and I didn't even use my soul skills. However, I won't hold back anymore. Stop hiding and show me what you've got. Share, stop hiding your angelic domain and your 5 or 6 soul skills. Zhu Qing, you can use your 4th and 5th soul skills too. Senior sister, too." Lu Yuan's gaze turned to Helena. "Don't just wave your tail around. Bewitchment doesn't work on me. You can use your soulbone skills now. Aren't you embarrassed that you've been slacking off earlier? Don't think that I'm joking. If you lose, you and Cher won't be able to escape tonight. When that happens, I don't care if you're embarrassed or not." Lu Yuan said plainly. When they heard this, Chihiro Snow and Helena almost snorted at the same time. However, their gazes immediately turned serious. Since Lu Yuan had said this, they had to give it their all. It didn't matter if they lost to Lu Yuan. After all, something like that would happen sooner or later. However, if they lost too badly, it wouldn't be right. After all, they were 3 against 1. If they lost too badly, Lu Yuan would be very disappointed. He wanted to see the improvement of their strength. When he saw their gazes, Lu Yuan smiled knowingly. This was the effect he wanted. Second soul skill, Golden Dragon War Body. Lu Yuan's purplish-black second soul ring suddenly shone. Golden Dragon War Body increased his defense by 200% and made him immune to all control-type skills. When paired with the Golden Dragon Armor and Golden Dragon War Body, it meant one thing. Lu Yuan was going to be reckless. He was going to use his true strength. Dragon Swimming Footwork. With a strange footwork, Lu Yuan's body was like a swimming dragon as he pounced towards Chihiro Snow. At this moment, he was only using the simple footwork of the Great Void Dragon. The Great Void Dragon was a soul skill that he had created 5 years ago. It combined exquisite footwork and powerful attack power into one, allowing him to transform into a divine dragon to fight his enemies. Its power was astonishing. Although he couldn't unleash the full power of the dragon swimming Great Void in his human form, he could still use its footwork. The dragon swimming footwork was exquisite and profound. It was even better than the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions. Lu Yuan arrived in front of Chihiro Snow in an instant, giving her a fright. However, Qian Ranxue wasn't an ordinary person after all. She recovered her state of mind almost instantaneously. A golden ray of light appeared under her feet. Then, it rapidly spread out, and formed a golden domain that completely enveloped the 4 of them. This was the innate domain of the 6-winged angel, the angel domain. After Chihiro Snow's martial soul evolved into an 8-winged angel, the domain's power had become even stronger. The golden domain enveloped Lu Yuan. Boundless purifying power began to invade Lu Yuan from all directions. It wanted to consume Lu Yuan's soul power. At the same time, a powerful invisible force spread towards Lu Yuan, trying to imprison Lu Yuan's body. Chihiro Snow held the angelic holy sword. Instead of retreating, he advanced. The sword was condensed with the power of holy and fire. He slashed it towards Lu Yuan's body. Chapter 482. Is this the angelic domain? Feeling the faint binding force around his body, Lu Yuan knew that it was the power of the angel's domain, which could forcibly imprison people in place and make them unable to move. Even with his teleportation skill, he could only take a single step in the angelic domain before he would be dragged back to his original position by the restrictive power of the domain. It could be said that the angelic domain was an extremely powerful domain. However, it was ineffective against Lu Yuan. With a slight tremor, Lu Yuan's body emitted a dazzling golden light, and the faintly discernible binding force instantly disappeared without a trace. His Golden Dragon War Body increased his defensive power by 200%, and he was immune to all control-type skills. It could be said that this was a divine skill. Among all of Lu Yuan's current skills, even his Titan Giant Ape Soul skills couldn't compare to his Golden Dragon War Body. This was because this skill was simply too unreasonable. As long as he was immune to all control-type skills, Lu Yuan could be said to be a control-type Soul Master killer. Any control-type Soul Master who encountered him was doomed to die. Lu Yuan raised his Golden Dragon Spear and charged toward Chihiro Snow. Bam! The Golden Dragon Spear clashed violently with the Holy Sword. Within the angelic domain, Chihiro Snow's power had increased significantly, while all of Lu Yuan's attributes had decreased to a certain extent. In addition, the omnipresent power of evolution was whittling away at Lu Yuan's soul power, so even though it was very difficult for Chihiro Snow to withstand Lu Yuan's attacks, he was still able to just barely hold on. Lu Yuan couldn't help but nod at the sight of Chihiro Snow, who was doing his best to resist his attacks. As expected, Chihiro Snow was the most powerful of the 3 of them. One had to realize that even though he wasn't using his full strength like he had said, each of his spear strikes carried around 80,000 to 90,000 kilograms of force. Even so, Chihiro Snow was still able to just barely withstand his attacks. This made Lu Yuan quite happy. His schwer had improved quite a bit. Lu Yuan thrust his Golden Dragon Spear forward again, and the sound of surging waves rang out as he unleashed his spear technique, Vast Ocean. Chihiro Snow's holy sword burned with golden flames as she unleashed her 3rd soul skill, Angelic Light Blade. Bam! The Angelic Light Blade was destroyed, and Chihiro Snow was forced back 7 or 8 steps. She shook her slightly numb hands. This man really was very powerful. Even within the angelic domain, she was still being dominated by him. Furthermore, from the looks of it, he definitely wasn't using his full strength. Chihiro Snow's light blade. She didn't want to use her angelic domain. Instead, she wanted to use her angelic domain's purifying power as long as possible to Lu Yuan's light blade technique. When Lu Yuan's soul power ran low, he would explode with power and defeat Lu Yuan. Qian Renxue was never a rash person. She had her own considerations when it came to battles. Don't just stand there, share. Lu Yuan advanced once again upon seeing Chihiro Snow being forced back. His golden dragon spear was imbued with Lu Yuan's immense strength, and even though it appeared to be quite ordinary, it was imbued with immense power. Chihiro Snow's lips twitched slightly at the sight of Lu Yuan charging toward her again. This guy really was determined to attack her, and he wasn't even giving her a chance to catch her breath. Why didn't he go after Zhu Zhuqing and Hu Lena instead? Chihiro Snow thought to herself. However, right at this moment, Lu Yuan's attack came hurtling toward her again. Chihiro Snow could only raise her holy sword to parry Lu Yuan's attack. Lu Yuan's spear pressed down on Chihiro Snow's holy sword. He exerted a little force, and Chihiro Snow immediately fell to one knee. She gritted her teeth and gripped the hilt of her sword tightly. The veins on her arms bulged as she exerted so much force that they were bulging. Even so, her body was still bent over slightly under the pressure of Lu Yuan's golden dragon spear. Do you admit defeat, Cher? Lu Yuan held his golden dragon spear with one hand, and he wore a relaxed expression as he looked down at Chihiro Snow, who was struggling bitterly. Even though his angelic domain had depleted his soul power, he was still able to suppress Qian Renxue with a gravity of more than 50,000 kilograms just by relying on his blood energy. I don't admit defeat. Chihiro Snow was furious as she looked at Lu Yuan's faint smile. This guy's handsome face was detestable no matter how she looked at it. He actually forced her to kneel on one knee, and she was in such a sorry state. If she was alone, she wouldn't have minded it. However, Hu Lena and Zhu Zhuqing were watching. With Chihiro Snow's stubbornness, how could she take this lying down? Therefore, even though she couldn't hold on any longer, she refused to admit defeat. You don't admit defeat. Lu Yuan smiled faintly as he looked at Chihiro Snow, who was gritting her teeth and whose eyes were burning with golden flames. He moved his right hand slightly and was about to exert more force. All of a sudden, Lu Yuan felt a sense of danger. He moved his feet and moved slightly to the side. A black figure suddenly flashed in front of him. Its sharp claws scratched the golden dragon armor, creating a burst of sparks. Good job, Zhuqing. I almost forgot about you. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile faintly as he looked at Zhu Zhuqing, who had suddenly appeared in front of him. This was Zhu Zhuqing's fourth soul skill, Dark Night Invasion. It could conceal her body and make her immune to physical attacks and energy attacks by 50%. It was definitely a very powerful skill. As Lu Yuan was fighting Chihiro Snow, and Zhu Zhuqing's soul skill could conceal her body, he didn't realize that Zhu Zhuqing had already snuck up to him. If he hadn't felt a sense of danger and turned his body slightly, that attack might not have landed on his golden dragon armor, but on his head. Zhu Zhuqing, this girl, was really a little vicious when it came to fighting. Originally, this situation wasn't very serious. However, not long after this battle began, he realized that Zhu Zhuqing's fighting style had changed quite a bit. She must have learned this from the ghost Douluo over the past year. After all, the ghost Douluo was very sinister, and he liked to sneak up on people from behind. It was normal for Zhu Zhuqing to be influenced by him and learn these things. Where's senior sister? Don't tell me you're hiding and preparing to ambush me too. Lu Yuan scanned his surroundings. His angelic domain was filled with golden light. If he had Chihiro Snow to help him, it wouldn't be difficult for him to conceal everyone. However, Lu Yuan couldn't use his polychoria now. He couldn't see Hu Lena's figure just by looking with his eyes. Junior brother, you're right. Hu Lena's voice suddenly rang out. Her 9 snow-white foxtails elongated abruptly and shot towards Lu Yuan in an all-encompassing manner. Junior brother, have a taste of my 6th soul skill, Heavenly Foxbind, Hu Lena said softly. Hey! It's not a spiritual type attack. A look of astonishment flashed across Lu Yuan's eyes when he saw the 9 snow-white fox tails surging towards him. It was actually a control-type soul skill unleashed by the fox tails, and not a pure spiritual type attack. This was rather interesting. Chapter 483. However, she clearly knew that he was immune to control-type soul skills, yet she still used them. What was this senior sister thinking? Lu Yuan couldn't understand Helena's actions. Others might not understand him, but how could Helena not understand him? Which part of him didn't Helena understand? Hey, I think I said something wrong. Lu Yuan returned to his senses. Helena probably knew all 4 of his soul skills like the back of her hand, except for the effect of his 5th soul ring. He had already used his golden dragon war body, but this senior sister was still using a control-type soul skill. He really couldn't understand. 9 long fox tails lashed out at Lu Yuan in a frenzy. Lu Yuan's body was covered with a layer of golden light as he activated his golden dragon war body. The fox tails were all repelled when they came into contact with this layer of golden light. Senior sister, you clearly know that I'm immune to control-type soul skills, yet you still. Lu Yuan smiled faintly as he looked at the fox tails that were repelled. However, before he could finish his sentence, a fox tail suddenly enlarged by 3 to 4 times and directly slapped Lu Yuan's body. Lu Yuan was directly sent flying. Now, Helena's eyes lit up when she saw Lu Yuan being sent flying. She shouted, and Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing's figures suddenly appeared. 5th soul skill, Holy Sword. Chihiro Snow shouted in a low voice. The Class 6 soul tool in his hand, the Holy Sword, emitted dense golden flames. His 5th soul ring lit up, and another golden Holy Sword appeared and fused with the Holy Sword in his hand. This was Chihiro Snow's strongest single-target skill. It could be called the double Holy Sword. Chihiro Snow held the enormous Holy Sword. The wings on his back flapped, and the enormous Holy Sword, which was 7 to 8 meters long, directly slashed towards Lu Yuan. F***CK, Share, are you trying to kill me? Seeing Chihiro Snow's 7 to 8 meter long golden greatsword, the corner of Lu Yuan's eyes couldn't help but twitch. However, he was currently sent flying and couldn't move for a moment. The angel sacred sword was also fast, so he could only watch as it ruthlessly slashed his body. Thankfully, he was wearing his golden dragon battle armor and had activated his golden dragon battle body, so even though Share's attack was powerful, he should be fine. Bang! The golden angelic sword struck Lu Yuan, and the holy power and purification power drilled into Lu Yuan's body. The golden flames seemed to want to burn Lu Yuan's body. Lu Yuan's face turned pale after receiving such a heavy blow, and he was sent flying again. Right at this moment, Zhu Zhuqing's figure suddenly appeared. Her clear blue eyes suddenly lit up, and the 5th soul ring on her body emitted a dense black light. 5th soul skill, Nethermoon 9 Lives Slash. The Nethermoon 9 Lives Slash came from a 25,000-year-old Nethermoon mysterious cat. The Nethermoon mysterious cat was a top-tier soul beast on the same level as the Netherworld purple civet, and it had given Zhu Zhuqing this soul skill. The Nethermoon 9 Lives Slash was a very good skill. It increased speed by 50%, and attack power by 200%. With Zhu Zhuqing's current soul power, this move was enough to seriously injure a soul emperor if it hit. Zhuqing, you're here too, right? Lu Yuan's face turned pale. Although Chihiro Snow's attack didn't break through the dual defenses of his golden dragon battle armor and golden dragon battle body, the power of the sword still caused him some light injuries. His current defensive power was not as good as before. These women of mine are really taking advantage of the opportunity to beat him to death. Are they not afraid of killing me? Light blue light gathered on Zhu Zhuqing's body, and a 3-meter-long blue crescent-shaped energy blade appeared. Zhu Zhuqing directly threw it, and the crescent-shaped energy blade slashed towards Lu Yuan. Seeing the extremely fast energy blade, Lu Yuan could only tilt his body slightly, and the energy blade slashed Lu Yuan's red cloak. Immediately, Lu Yuan's body flew back even faster, and he crashed into the angel domain. A burst of golden light erupted, blocking the vision of the 3 women. We should have one, right? Helena said softly, with a trace of uncertainty in her voice. I'm afraid so, not yet. Chihiro Snow shook his head slightly, and a trace of seriousness appeared in his eyes. If Ibuchi lost so easily, he wouldn't be Ibuchi. Definitely not. Zhu Zhuqing's figure quietly landed, and her beautiful face was calm. Not to mention losing, even if he was injured, I'm afraid it wouldn't be much. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. Then why are you still so calm? Helena asked with some doubt. It's not like we have to win this battle. We just have to show him our strength and let him see if we've improved. We've already shown that just now, so it doesn't matter even if we lose. Anyway, even if we lose, it doesn't have much to do with me. Zhu Zhuqing muttered softly. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow and Helena's mouth twitched at the same time. If we lose, it doesn't have much to do with you, but it has a lot to do with us. If we lose, we have to be together. Just thinking about it made them feel a little embarrassed. Then what should we do next? Helena asked. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow's beautiful eyes blinked, and said in a calm tone, Next, prepare to be beaten up. None of us can escape. You may be beaten the most miserably, because you are the one who set him up. TSK, so be it. It's not like I haven't been beaten before. Helena slightly curled her lips, and said indifferently. Junior brother had beaten her but more than once, and this time, Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing were with her. She didn't panic at all, and even wanted to laugh a little. In the past, she was the one who was beaten. Today, at least she could see the two of them being beaten. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing and Chihiro Snow couldn't help but feel speechless. What else could they say? There was actually someone who didn't care about being beaten. Helena was really something. Golden light flashed, and Lu Yuan's figure stepped forward step by step. His face was ruddy, and his armor was still shining, as if he wasn't injured at all. You guys had a good chat. Looking at the three girls opposite him, Lu Yuan said indifferently. Just now, after taking Chihiro Snow's dual sacred swords and Zhu Zhuqing's silent moon 9 live slash, he was indeed injured. However, he had the secret character, and those light injuries were completely healed in an instant. Senior sister, that foxtail of yours just now was an external soul bone, right? Why didn't I know about it? Looking at Helena, Lu Yuan's eyes were filled with a trace of curiosity. In the original work, Helena did indeed have a foxtail external soul bone. However, after he came in this life, Helena's path had changed quite a bit. Therefore, he wasn't sure if Helena still had that external soul bone. However, looking at today's situation, she still had it. In this way, adding the 2 soul bones that he gave her, Helena now had 3 soul bones, which was catching up to him. Looks like the next time I have a soul bone, I should give it to Zhuqing. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Chapter 484. How come you don't know? Of course you don't know. You've only been with me for a few days. Helena said softly with a trace of bitterness on her charming face. Hearing this, Lu Yuan's face couldn't help but reveal a trace of embarrassment. Indeed, the time he spent with Helena could be considered the shortest. Even Jiu Yuena spent more time with her than her. At the very least, he and Jiu Yuena could be considered to have spent a year alone together. However, with Helena, he spent more time with her than with her. Before their relationship was confirmed, he did spend a lot of time with Helena. However, after their relationship was confirmed, he was always outside and didn't spend much time with Helena. What? Not talking? Seeing Lu Yuan's speechless appearance, Helena's imposing manner rose instead. Page, you've been with your NA for more than a year. How could you still remember this senior sister of yours? Helena's tone was sour, especially emphasizing the 2 words NA. Speaking of which, this was the first time she showed her jealousy in front of Lu Yuan. She had always been very obedient, but in her heart, she really couldn't take the name NA to heart. In her opinion, this name should belong to her. In the end, it was snatched away by Jiu Yuena. How could senior sister be as intimate as NA? She also wanted to be called NA by her junior brother. Hateful junior brother, he had no conscience and didn't care about her at all. Although she was very happy that her junior brother had given her a 90,000-year-old torso bone, giving the name Na to someone else made her feel uncomfortable. She, Helena, didn't want much. She couldn't let the name that belonged to her be taken away by someone else. Under the resentment in her heart, her attitude was completely out of character. She actually put on a rare display of arrogance in front of Lu Yuan. Hearing Helena's words, Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing's faces couldn't help but twitch. Especially Chihiro Snow's face revealed a trace of strangeness. So this Helena is still fussing about this name. Seriously, this woman's way of thinking was indeed different from others. At most, she and Zhu Zhuqing were jealous of Lu Yuan for accompanying Jiu Yuana for a year. However, she wasn't the same. She didn't have much opinion about Lu Yuan spending a year with Jiu Yuana. Instead, she was particularly concerned about how Jiu Yuana was addressed. Wasn't it just a name? Was it that important? Anyway, Chihiro Snow didn't understand. Whether Ibuchi called her Xiao Shui or Cher, she didn't care. It was just a name. As long as Ibuchi loved her, it was fine. Moreover, among Ibuchi's 4 women, you're the only one who's his senior sister. Isn't that special enough? Chihiro Snow thought to himself. Looking at the imposing Helena at this moment, Lu Yuan couldn't help but blink. Damn, this was the first time he saw his senior sister being so jealous. To be honest, it was a little strange. Was this still the senior sister who begged for mercy in the morning? Seeing Lu Yuan blinking at her without saying a word, Helena couldn't help but snort again. How is it, stinky junior brother? Are you speechless? You heartless little thief. Heartless little thief. Lu Yuan was slightly speechless. Even if she was jealous, she didn't have to say that. It wasn't like he didn't want to accompany her on purpose. Wasn't it because he didn't have time? Putting aside the life spiritual crystal, how could he give away the illusion skull, yearning heartbroken red, and 1,000-kilogram and emperor torso bone? Even Cher didn't have so many things. How could you say that you're heartless? Lu Yuan wondered if he should have a good conversation with his dear senior sister. Senior sister, I realized that your temper seems to have gotten a little worse. Do you need me to help you treat it? Lu Yuan's eyes flickered slightly as he said softly. Treat it then. If you have the ability, come and hit me. Helena tilted her head and said coquettishly. Hearing Helena's words, Zhu Zhuqing and Chihiro Snow couldn't help but move a little further away from her. This was really King awesome. She took the initiative to ask for a beating. The two of them had never seen such a thing before. Was Helena crazy looking for death today? However, they didn't know that Helena was in a bad mood now. She didn't care about this and said these words almost without thinking. She was talking without thinking. Now, she was only concerned about venting her anger. How could she care about the consequences of her words? A strange smile appeared on Lu Yuan's face when he heard this. Senior sister, this is the first time I've heard of such a request. If I don't satisfy you, then it really is my fault. Golden light flashed in Lu Yuan's hand, and his golden dragon spear disappeared without a trace. He then unleashed his dragon roaming movement technique, and his body quickly disappeared. Helena had only just turned around when Lu Yuan appeared in front of her. At the sight of the astonished Helena, Lu Yuan opened his right hand and directly grabbed toward Helena. Helena was startled, and she hurriedly stepped back using her phoenix dances of the 6 illusions. At the same time, her 9 tails shot toward Lu Yuan at the same time. You're still using this move? It's useless. Golden light flashed, and the foxtails were directly sent flying upon contact. Control-type skills were ineffective against Lu Yuan. Suddenly, Lu Yuan's right hand made a grabbing motion, and an exceptionally thick foxtail was caught in Lu Yuan's hand. Every single strand of fox fur on the tail wasn't soft. Instead, they were as sharp as steel needles. This was Helena's soul bone attached to her foxtail. I already know, and you still want to ambush me? Come back. Lu Yuan's right hand exerted force, and he directly pulled Helena back. After all, how could Helena's small body break free from Lu Yuan's immense strength? Lu Yuan grabbed Helena's foxtail with one hand, and directly grabbed toward Helena's shoulder with the other. Thousand Catty Barrier. Seeing that Lu Yuan's other hand was grabbing toward her, Helena immediately activated the Thousand Catty and Queen's torso bone skill. This skill could form a brownish-yellow barrier in front of the user, and it had 3 times the defensive strength of the user's body. Furthermore, it could reflect attacks to a certain extent, and could be said to be quite useful. Haha, the Thousand Catty and Queen's soul bone skill? Seeing this brownish-yellow barrier, Lu Yuan didn't retract his hand. Instead, he clenched his fist and punched it. Bang! Lu Yuan didn't restrain his strength at all, and the Thousand Catty barrier was directly shattered into pieces by Lu Yuan's immense strength, which exceeded 50,000 catties. This seemingly sturdy defensive barrier was extremely weak under Lu Yuan's immense strength. At the same time, Lu Yuan's fist turned into a claw, and he directly grabbed Helena's shoulder. With a gentle tug, he pulled Helena into his embrace. His left hand let go of the foxtail, and he hugged Helena's body. With a wave of his right hand, he pushed the foxtail to the side, opened his 5 fingers slightly, and directly slapped Helena's perky buttocks. Suddenly, a smacking sound was heard. Chapter 485. Smack. A loud sound was heard. Instantly, the other 3 people in the angel domain were shocked except for Lu Yuan. Qian Renxue and Zhu Zhuqing's faces couldn't help but twitch at the same time. As expected, Helena was punished. She was really asking for it. She even said something like "hit me if you can." Wasn't she asking for a beating? Did she think that Ibuchi would go easy on her? After hearing such words, it would be strange if he didn't beat her up. Helena was the same. When the slap fell, she suddenly woke up from that state of resentment. Thinking of what she had said, she couldn't help but want to slap herself twice. Who told you to be so cheap? You're dead for sure this time. She was really going to die. Her butt was probably going to be swollen. No, I have to admit defeat quickly. Helena's thoughts turned. Just as she was about to beg for mercy, another slap landed. Ah! Her butt was slapped again. Helena couldn't help but cry out. Her beautiful face flushed red. On one hand, it was because she was shy. On the other hand, it really hurt a little. Junior brother, I was wrong. Please forgive senior sister, Helena hurriedly said with a hint of pleading in her voice. You were wrong. I really couldn't tell. Lu Yuan said indifferently and slapped her with his right hand. Junior brother, I was really wrong. Can you spare your senior sister? Helena's tone carried a trace of grievance as she spoke pitifully. Not good. Lu Yuan said indifferently and slapped her again. Junior brother, smack. Dear junior brother, smack. Junior brother, I won't dare to do it again, smack. Qian Renxue and Zhu Zhuqing couldn't bear to continue watching as they listened to the slapping sounds and Helena's sobbing pleas for mercy. This was really tragic. You were courting death just now. Now you're punished. Junior brother, boo-hoo. Helena's big eyes were filled with tears as she whimpered. Do you still dare to spout such nonsense? Lu Yuan stopped his palm and asked softly. I don't dare, I don't dare. Helena hurriedly said. Then am I still a heartless thief? Lu Yuan continued to ask. No, no, junior brother, you're the best. Helena said. Then do you still dare to be jealous? Lu Yuan asked. I'm not jealous, I'm not jealous. Helena's voice. No, you can still be jealous. Lu Yuan helped Helena up with a smile on his face. He gently wiped away the tears on Helena's face and said, You're right about one thing. I haven't spent enough time with you, so I'll stay for 2 more months in Martial Spirit City to accompany you. Really? Junior brother? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Helena's mood immediately brightened up. Apart from the fact that her name was stolen, she also hoped that Lu Yuan could accompany her. It's true. Although I've been busy all these years, I've indeed neglected you. It's normal for you to be resentful. So, I'll take some time to accompany you. Lu Yuan said softly. Then why did you hit me? Helena asked. Because you're asking for it. I saw that your fox tail was about to reach the sky. Hit me if you dare. If I didn't hit you, wouldn't it show that I'm not capable? Lu Yuan said indifferently. Hearing this, Huliana blushed and lowered her head slightly. Rubbing Hulena's head, Lu Yuan said with a smile, your matter is over. I'm going to deal with those two women. It's fine if they hit me so hard. Anyway, my skin is thick and can't be broken. But they didn't come to help when they saw you being hit. No matter what, you're sisters. They didn't even try to persuade you and just stood aside to watch the show. Those two women are asking for a beating. Hearing this, Huliana's eyes suddenly burst with a strong color. They were going to be beaten too? This couldn't be any better. Who told you to hide and watch the show? You didn't expect to make junior brother angry, right? It's your turn to get your butt swollen. Hulena snickered in her heart. It should be interesting to watch them get beaten. Patting Hulena's little head again, Lu Yuan stood up and looked at the two women who were panicking not far away. They had heard the conversation just now. Oh, it seems that if I want to catch the two of you, I'll have to break this domain first. This purifying power is a little annoying. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Chihiro Snow had a bad premonition. Abuchi said this. Could it be? Golden Dragon Domain, Lu Yuan shouted. A brilliant golden light that was different from the angel domain surged from beneath his feet. The brilliant golden light instantly spread and collided with Chihiro Snow's angel domain. Not good. Chihiro Snow's expression changed slightly. Lu Yuan's golden dragon domain was powerful and domineering. It was already clashing fiercely with her angel domain. She could feel that her angel domain was on the verge of collapse, as if it were about to shatter. Immediately, she hurriedly urged her soul power to maintain her angel domain. Otherwise, if her angel domain was broken, they would really be like meat on a chopping board. They would be at the mercy of Lu Yuan. The purifying power is constantly draining Abuchi's soul power, so Abuchi's soul power is definitely not as abundant as mine. As long as I can hold on for a while, Abuchi's soul power will be depleted soon, and he won't be able to break my angel domain. Chihiro Snow thought to herself. Oh, it seems like a simple golden dragon domain can't do anything to you, Cher. Lu Yuan chuckled. Then let's stop fighting. Anyway, we've already displayed our strength. How about we call it a draw? Chihiro Snow suggested. If they continued fighting, they would definitely lose, so she wanted to quit while she was ahead. Stop fighting now. Dream on, Cher. I've already said that I'm going to beat the two of you up today. You want to run? Not going to happen. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Everyone says that 100,000-year soul rings are powerful. You probably haven't seen how powerful a 100,000-year soul skill is. Today, I'll open your eyes. Lu Yuan said softly. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow's and Zhu Zhuqing's expressions suddenly changed. Fifth soul skill, gravity domain. The 100,000-year soul ring on Lu Yuan's fifth soul ring blossomed with a demonic red light, and a pitch-black aura suddenly spread out. Golden dragon domain, gravity domain, fuse for me. Lu Yuan let out a low growl, and the golden dragon domain began to quickly merge with the gravity domain. The two domains that were originally bright gold and black became a brand new dark gold domain. Golden dragon mystic heavy domain, go. The dark gold domain swept across the entire place, and destroyed Chihiro Snow's angel domain. Then, it wrapped the two girls in the new golden dragon mystic heavy domain. Looking at the two girls who were a little panicked, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Now, we can finally have a good exchange. Chapter 486. Looking at the slightly panicked Qian Runxue and Zhu Zhuqing, the corners of Lu Yuan's mouth could not help but curl into a smile. The gravitational domain was one of the soul skills in the Titan Giant Ape's soul rings. It could control gravity, and could reach up to 20 times the normal gravity. After fusing with the Golden Dragon domain, the new Golden Dragon Mystic Heavy domain was formed. It combined the advantages of both domains, and was extremely powerful. The various abilities of the Golden Dragon Mystic Heavy domain were strengthened. It increased all attributes from 10% to 15%. The weakening of the opponent's attributes also increased from 10% to 15%. The effects of Dragon's might and excitement were also strengthened. The amplification was greater, but the weakening was also greater. The effects of the gravitational domain were also strengthened. It increased from 20 times the normal gravity to 30 times the normal gravity. The various abilities of the new Golden Dragon Mystic Heavy Domain were terrifying. The only drawback was that it consumed soul power. Even if Lu Yuan tried his best to maintain the Golden Dragon Mystic Heavy Domain, he would be exhausted in less than half an hour. However, half an hour was more than enough time for him. Sometimes, a fight would end in a few minutes. Sometimes, it would take less than 10 minutes. It was very rare for a fight to last for half an hour, unless it was a situation where both parties were evenly matched. However, among his peers, was there anyone who could match Lu Yuan in terms of strength? This was still a question mark. Lu Yuan had expended a lot of soul power. He could only maintain the Golden Dragon Mystic Heavy Domain for about 10 minutes. However, it wouldn't be difficult for him to deal with Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing in that time. So, who should I start with? Lu Yuan's eyes swept across the two of them. Finally, his gaze froze and stopped at Zhu Zhuqing. Zhuqing, it's decided on you. Lu Yuan stepped forward and sprinted towards Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing's expression changed when she saw Lu Yuan lunging towards her. She didn't want to be spanked by Lu Yuan. In the past, when she lost her temper and Lu Yuan suppressed her, he would kiss her for more than 10 minutes. He would only stop when she was out of breath. In the past, Zhu Zhuqing felt that this was already very impressive. At least she didn't lose her temper in front of Lu Yuan. However, compared to being spanked in front of others, Zhu Zhuqing felt that what she had experienced before was not considered a punishment. If she was really spanked in front of Chihiro Snow and Hu Lena, how embarrassing would that be? She was thin-skinned to begin with, so she could not accept this kind of thing. Therefore, she immediately asked Chihiro Snow for help. Chihiro Snow, help me. Otherwise, after I'm punished, it'll be your turn. Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly said, a trace of panic in her usually cold eyes. Hearing Zhu Zhuqing's words, Chihiro Snow frowned slightly. What Zhu Zhuqing said was very reasonable. Once Ibuchi finished dealing with her, then the next unlucky one would be himself. If he were to be trapped in Ibuchi's Golden Dragon Mysterious Heavy Domain by himself, he would definitely be defeated. If he were to join forces with Zhu Zhuqing now, he might have a chance. Chihiro Snow made up his mind. Holding the divine sword, he flapped the wings on his back and was about to fly in Zhu Zhuqing's direction. But at this moment, a strong gravitational force pressed down on her body. Her figure stiffened and fell from the sky. Lu Yuan slightly retracted his finger. He didn't do anything just now. He only increased the gravitational force around Chihiro Snow by 10 times. Under 10 times the gravity, if Chihiro Snow could still fly, he would personally write the word admire for him. One must know that in his domain, Chihiro Snow's attributes had been weakened by a lot. In addition to 10 times the gravity, it was already very good for Chihiro Snow to be able to move freely. Even if he could barely move, his speed would definitely be slow. Wanting to fly? That was almost impossible. Therefore, Chihiro Snow couldn't help Zhu Zhuqing for the time being. Seeing Chihiro Snow being directly punished, Zhu Zhuqing's cold little face was filled with panic. She looked at Lu Yuan's figure and subconsciously retreated. TSK, little kitty, you seem to be a little scared. It's okay, it'll be fine in a while. Seeing Zhu Zhuqing's slightly panicked little face, Lu Yuan smiled slightly. His body was like a swimming dragon, and he instantly closed the distance between him and Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing's expression changed. Her feet moved continuously, and she used a strange footwork. Phoenix dances 6 illusions. Seeing Zhu Zhuqing's movements, Lu Yuan couldn't help but laugh. Zhuqing, don't forget who taught you this set of footwork. I'm much more familiar with it than you are. Seeing the 6 figures, Lu Yuan wasn't confused at all. He directly chased after Zhu Zhuqing's original body. 4th soul skill, Dark Knight Sneak Attack. Seeing that Lu Yuan was pressuring her, Zhu Zhuqing's fourth soul ring lit up, and she disappeared. In her opinion, Lu Yuan, who couldn't use his polychoria, wouldn't be able to discover her. However, she neglected the most important point. This was Lu Yuan's domain. As long as there was any movement, Lu Yuan would be able to discover it. Zhu Zhuqing could hide her body, but she couldn't hide the movements she made in his domain. This would also expose her position. You're still hiding, little kitty. You have a lot of tricks up your sleeve. Lu Yuan shook his head slightly. His body moved, and he directly pounced in a direction. This time, Lu Yuan was extremely fast. Lu Yuan's hand was filled with dense golden light. This move contained the power of intent. In an empty place, Zhu Zhuqing's figure suddenly appeared. Lu Yuan grabbed Zhu Zhuqing's shoulder with one hand and pulled her out of her dark night sneak attack state. His left hand grabbed Zhu Zhuqing's body, and her round buttocks were raised high. Lu Yuan raised his right hand and was about to land it. Wait! Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly begged for mercy when she felt Lu Yuan raise his right hand high. What's wrong, little kitty? Do you have anything to say? Lu Yuan asked softly. Lu Yuan, I was wrong. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. What were you wrong about? Lu Yuan asked plainly. I shouldn't have stood by and watched Lena get beaten up. I should have pleaded for her. Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly said. Oh, so you admit that you were wrong to stand by and watch? Lu Yuan asked. Yes, I was wrong. Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly responded. She was really regretting it. If she had known, she would have pleaded for Lena. She shouldn't have stood there and didn't say anything. After all, she and Lena were sisters. What she didn't expect was that Lu Yuan actually cared so much about this. He didn't even care that she was beaten up by them. This was something Zhu Zhuqing didn't expect. Well, not bad. It's good that you know you were wrong. Don't do it again. Lu Yuan said softly. Well, I definitely won't do it again. Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly said when she felt the gentleness in Lu Yuan's words. Chapter 487. I shouldn't be beaten this time, right? Zhu Zhuqing thought to herself. However, just to be on the safe side, Zhu Zhuqing felt that she had to do something. Lu Yuan. Zhu Zhuqing's cold voice carried a rare tenderness. What's wrong, Zhuqing? Lu Yuan asked. It's so good to be able to meet you in this life, Zhu Zhuqing said. Lu Yuan nodded lightly. Lu Yuan. Zhu Zhuqing called out softly again. What's the matter? Lu Yuan's voice sounded. I really love you. You also love me deeply, right? Zhu Zhuqing asked. I love you very much. Lu Yuan didn't deny it. He really did love Zhu Zhuqing. Since you love me, then you definitely won't spank my butt, right? Zhu Zhuqing asked hopefully. Her tone was exceptionally gentle. I've only heard that hitting is a sign of affection, scolding is a sign of love, and when you love to the extreme, you'll kick. So, in order to express my love for you, I've decided to give you a good beating. Lu Yuan's faint voice sounded. Then, Pa. Lu Yuan's palm made intimate contact with Zhu Zhuqing's perky butt, making a pa sound. Zhu Zhuqing's figure suddenly stiffened. Her charming face was filled with astonishment. This script isn't right. Logically speaking, shouldn't Lu Yuan spare me, then gently embrace me in his arms and intimately love me? Could it be that I've met a fake Lu Yuan? Zhu Zhuqing was completely immersed in her own doubts. Her previous methods of being gentle had actually lost their effect. Pa. Another slap landed on Zhu Zhuqing's perky buttocks, directly waking Zhu Zhuqing up from her self-doubt. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw Lena not far away looking at her with a smile. Suddenly, her slightly cold little face flushed red. It's over. Such an embarrassing side was seen by Lena. It's really embarrassing. Lena was half lying on the ground. Her butt was a little swollen, so she could only lie down for the time being. However, looking at Zhu Zhuqing at this moment, she smiled very happily. Serves you right. You only cared about watching the show just now. Now, you've been punished by junior brother, right? As expected, junior brother is still awesome. As expected of my handsome and powerful junior brother. Hu Liana praised Lu Yuan in her heart, completely forgetting that not long ago, he was the one who kept calling her a stinky junior brother and a heartless thief. Women are really fickle creatures. Not far away, Chihiro Snow, who was struggling to walk under 10 times the gravity, saw Lu Yuan's big hand land directly on Zhu Zhuqing's perky butt. His body couldn't help but tremble, as if Lu Yuan's slap had also landed on her body. Abuchi won't do the same to me later, right? Definitely not. Abuchi loves me the most. He definitely won't bear to hit me. Chihiro Snow said to himself, but just to be on the safe side, I have to put down my arrogance and act coquettishly with Abuchi later. He definitely likes it when I act coquettishly. Once he's happy, I'll escape a calamity. As for Zhu Zhuqing being hit even though she acted coquettishly, that must be an accident. Because she's not me. Yes, how can she compare with me? I'm Abuchi's official wife. Chihiro Snow constantly comforted himself in his heart, trying to ease his somewhat nervous mood. To be honest, seeing Zhu Zhuqing being spanked, his heart was also scared. Pa. Another slap landed on Zhu Zhuqing's perky butt. Lu Yuan withdrew his hand. At this moment, Zhu Zhuqing's perky butt was already swollen. Lu Yuan straightened Zhu Zhuqing's body. Suddenly, her tear-stained face was reflected in Lu Yuan's eyes. Zhu Zhuqing's face was red. She was both shy and aggrieved. Since childhood, this was the first time she was spanked like this. It was really embarrassing. This stinky Lu Yuan, bad Lu Yuan, dead Lu Yuan, said how much he loved her, but in the end, he didn't show any mercy. Sure enough, a man's mouth was a liar. What's wrong? Are you feeling aggrieved? Lu Yuan gently wiped the tears from the corner of Zhu Zhuqing's eyes and asked softly. Zhu Zhuqing softly snorted. The aggrieved look on her face became more intense. Do you think I want to hit you? I just want to remind you that you're all my women. Senior sister is your sister. You can be jealous of each other, but when one of you is about to be hurt, as sisters, don't you have any expression? Today, you watched her being beaten and didn't say anything. Next time, when you see her die, you won't have the slightest reaction, right? At this point, Lu Yuan's voice suddenly became stern. If I don't give you an unforgettable lesson today, will you remember it? I don't want to see the relationship between you become more and more estranged. I hope you can get along well with each other and not scheme against each other. In the future, if anyone dares to take the initiative to stir up trouble, don't blame me for turning hostile. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing was sluggish. She slightly lowered her head and remained silent. From the bottom of her heart, when she saw Hu Lena being beaten up by Lu Yuan, she actually felt a little happy in her heart. She didn't have any bad intentions. She just wanted to see a joke. After all, women like to be jealous. On this point, she believed that Chihiro Snow was the same. But now that Lu Yuan said this, she knew where she was wrong. No wonder Lu Yuan was so angry. Her and Chihiro Snow's approach was indeed inappropriate. Looking at the silent Zhu Zhuqing, Lu Yuan sighed slightly and gently rubbed her head. He also knew that Zhu Zhuqing and the others didn't have any bad intentions in their hearts. His reaction was actually a little intense. But in all fairness, he really didn't want to see his women scheming against each other, so for those women who liked to cause trouble at first glance, he had always kept a respectful distance. The reason why he didn't accept Ning Rongrong was because she was nicknamed the Little Witch. If he accepted her, he was afraid that his harem would explode. This was the main reason why he had always rejected her. Unless Ning Rongrong changed the Little Witch's temper, he definitely wouldn't accept her. After all, she wasn't Gu Yuana. Gu Yuana was sensitive and had a gentle personality. At first glance, she was a more well-behaved person. In addition, she was really too beautiful, so Lu Yuan was tempted. Lu Yuan patted Zhu Zhuqing's head and stood up. He then looked at Chen Renxue, who was not too far away, and gently said, "Xue, it's your turn. Do you choose to resist and be suppressed by me and then be beaten, or do you choose to obediently admit your mistakes and accept your punishment?" Hearing this, Chihiro Snow sighed softly. She also heard what Lu Yuan said just now. To be honest, she really shouldn't have stood by and watched Hulena without doing anything. She really did do something wrong. She really should be punished. Chapter 488. I admit my mistake. This matter is indeed my fault. Chihiro Snow put away the divine sword and said softly, "Oh." Lu Yuan's face had a trace of surprise, and asked, "Cher, are you sure you admit your mistake, and then take the initiative to accept the punishment?" "I'm sure." Chihiro Snow nodded vigorously and said, "I indeed did not fulfill the obligation of a wife, it is my dereliction of duty, and indeed I should be punished." "Hehe, it seems that my Cher's awareness is still high. Well, then prepare to accept the punishment." Lu Yuan laughed and said, and then walked in the direction of Chihiro Snow. Chihiro Snow did not resist, and Lu Yuan easily fixed her body in his arms. Looking at Chihiro Snow's perky buttocks, Lu Yuan slightly raised his right hand. "Abuchi, wait, I have a request." Seeing that Lu Yuan seemed to be about to make a move, Chihiro Snow's voice sounded. "You said, as long as it is reasonable, I can consider it. Can you hit me gently later? I am a little afraid of pain." Chihiro Snow bit her red lips and whispered, "About this." Lu Yuan touched his chin with his right hand, as if he was thinking, and then raised his right hand and slapped her directly. "Pa. Abuchi, I hate you." Looking at her swollen buttocks, Chihiro Snow looked at Lu Yuan with hatred. She had already begged for mercy, but in the end, he still hit her so hard that her buttocks were bleeding. "I hit you hard to leave a deep impression. If it was just a light hit, how could it be called a punishment? Moreover, you don't know, when I hit you, the pain is in my heart, I actually can't bear to do it." Lu Yuan sighed softly. "Bah, I don't believe you. You stinking bastard, you just want to hit me. You must have had this idea for a long time. You're taking revenge for the time when I beat you up when we first met. You stinking man, it's been 7 or 8 years and you're still holding a grudge." Qian Renxue spat as a look of disdain appeared on her face. Hearing this, Lu Yuan's mouth twitched. In all honesty, he had already forgotten about this matter. His wanting to beat Chihiro Snow had nothing to do with this matter at all. Moreover, Cher actually remembered the matter from 7 or 8 years ago so clearly. However, when Cher said this, he remembered that at that time, he did seem to be a little angry at Chihiro Snow for hitting his peerless beauty, and said that he would teach Cher a lesson if he had the chance. However, those were just words in a moment of anger. He forgot about it after saying it, he didn't take it seriously at all. Not to mention remembering it until now. Was he such a narrow-minded person? "What, I hit the nail on the head, and you have nothing to say, right?" Seeing Lu Yuan fall into deep thought and not say a word, Chihiro Snow thought that she had hit the nail on the head, and said proudly, "I say, Cher, you really know how to think. If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten about this matter long ago. Am I the kind of person who holds a grudge like this?" Lu Yuan was angry and amused at the same time, and directly flicked Chihiro Snow's forehead. Ouch! A flick hit Chihiro Snow's smooth forehead, and immediately caused her to cry out in pain. "Abuchi, you hit me again, I hit the nail on the head, are you angry from embarrassment?" "Mph, stinky man, don't hug me, I hate you to death." Chihiro Snow's beautiful eyes stared at Lu Yuan, and her body slightly struggled. "Don't move, you're revolting." Lu Yuan's left hand used force to hold Chihiro Snow's delicate body firmly in his arms, and his right hand slapped Chihiro Snow's butt. Suddenly, Chihiro Snow cried out in alarm, and her whole body instantly quieted down. Only when I use force will you be obedient." Lu Yuan ignored Chihiro Snow's hateful eyes, and directly pinched Chihiro Snow's cheeks. Needless to say, Chihiro Snow's cheeks were pink and tender, and it was as if water could be squeezed out of them. As expected of his Cher, her skin was so good. "Mph, I hate you to death." Looking at Lu Yuan's hand pinching her face, Chihiro Snow said hatefully, "Hate me to death?" Lu Yuan smiled faintly. "It doesn't matter, when night comes, you will naturally love me to death." "Bah, lecher." Chihiro Snow secretly spat, and softly scolded. "Yes, I am a lecher, and I crave your body the most. Every time I see it, I will drool, and don't you want children? Tonight is a great opportunity, Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. Children? Chihiro Snow's expression eased a little. If he could have children with Ibuchi, it would be really good. His grandfather had always hoped to have a great-grandson. Although he said that he hated him, in fact, in his heart. How about it, Cher, you don't have any objections, right? If you don't have any objections, then it's settled. You can compete with your senior sister to see who can get pregnant first. Lu Yuan hugged Chihiro Snow lightly, and spoke nonsense with a serious face. His bloodline had yet to be fixed, and it was impossible for him to give birth to a descendant. Now, he was just fooling Chihiro Snow. And it was obvious that Chihiro Snow had been fooled. All right, since you don't have any objections, then it's settled. Lu Yuan chuckled, and with a thought, he immediately removed the Golden Dragon mystic domain, and withdrew his martial soul at the same time. The so-called battle had finally ended. Lu Yuan had a good understanding of the strength of Chihiro Snow and the others. There was indeed an obvious improvement, and this year was not a waste of time. Lu Yuan was quite satisfied with this. With one hand holding Chihiro Snow, Lu Yuan's gaze turned, and it happened to meet Bibidon's gaze. You only know how to fool around. Looking at Lu Yuan, Bibidon shook her head helplessly. She clearly saw all of Lu Yuan's movements in the domain. This disciple of hers actually spanked the buttocks of all three of them. This kind of operation was really unparalleled. However, his strength was indeed strong. He probably used at most 60% to 70% of his strength to deal with these three girls. He even used 100,000-year soul skill, and didn't use 100,000-year soulbone skill at all. In addition, he sealed the sea god's divine skill and polychoria. Ibuchi's true strength had probably reached a very high realm now. Bibidon was still surprised by Lu Yuan's rapid growth. Hee. After listening to Bibidon's words, Lu Yuan laughed, but he didn't feel embarrassed. After all, his skin was extraordinarily thick, and this was just a small matter. Bibidon didn't know what to do with this favorite disciple of hers. She couldn't bear to hit him, and she couldn't bear to scold him. This might be the only person in the world who truly cared about her, and she couldn't bear to hurt him. Why aren't you bringing them back to apply the medicine? Bibidon said softly. Oh. Lu Yuan nodded. He held Chihiro Snow with his left hand and Jujuqing with his right hand. Then, he carried Hulena on his back and walked towards the room not far away. Chapter 489. Lu Yuan's room. Chihiro Snow, Hulena, and Jujuqing were lying side by side on the bed covered with a sky-blue blanket. Lu Yuan held a bottle of medicine in his hand and looked at the three of them with a smile. Looking at Lu Yuan's appearance, Chihiro Snow gritted his teeth and forced out a sentence. Surnamed Lu, did you do something when you hit us? Why can't we recover the esoteric character? Logically speaking, a swollen but should be a small injury to the esoteric character. Although Chihiro Snow and the rest only understood the surface of the esoteric character, it was easy for them to recover from such a small injury. All they needed to do was to circulate their soul power. In the end, they circulated their soul power several times, but there was no effect at all. Their butts were still swollen. She had reason to suspect that it was the guy in front of her who did this. After all, his understanding of the esoteric character was much stronger than theirs. If he wanted to make their esoteric character lose its effect, it would not be difficult. Who said that? I didn't. Don't accuse a good person. Lu Yuan immediately denied Chihiro Snow's words. He would never admit that he was the one who did it. If he allowed them to recover, how would he be able to help them apply medicine? Accuse a good person? I didn't. It must be you who did something. Otherwise, why would the esoteric character lose its effect? Chihiro Snow asked. Perhaps your understanding of it is not deep enough. Sigh, the esoteric character of swordsman is broad and profound. With your wisdom, it is still difficult to comprehend it. Never mind, I will guide you when I have the time. Lu Yuan sighed softly and pretended to be helpless. You're still pretending. Don't think I don't know what you're planning. Chihiro Snow looked at the medicine bottle in Lu Yuan's hand and understood everything. This stinky guy wanted to take advantage of them again. Damn stinky guy. If he wanted to take advantage of them, just say it. How could they not agree? After all, they had already slept with them. What was there to be afraid of? In the end, this guy just had to do this. It was really a little infuriating. What can I do? I just want to apply medicine for you. Why? Don't you need it? Alright, then forget it. You guys can continue to suffer. As Lu Yuan spoke, he took the medicine bottle and looked like he was about to put it back into his astral ring. Seeing Lu Yuan's actions, Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but grit their teeth. This man was truly shameless. Their butts were still hurting, but their personalities were a little similar. They were both a little stubborn and would not easily beg for mercy, let alone beg Lu Yuan to apply medicine for them. Wouldn't that be exactly what this bad guy wanted? However, there was one person who thought differently from the two of them. When she saw that Lu Yuan was going to personally apply medicine for them, not only was she not angry at all, she even smiled and looked happy. Junior brother, senior sister wants to apply medicine. Come and help, Helena said softly as she looked at Lu Yuan. Oh, senior sister, aren't you worried that I'm up to no good? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. What bad ideas can you have? Aren't you just trying to take advantage of me? Senior sister likes to let you take advantage of me, Helena said coquettishly. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing both frowned. This Helena was really hopeless. She could even say such things. As expected of the owner of the nine-tailed fox martial soul. As expected, no matter how she changed, a fox was still a fox. Even if her martial soul had a hint of holiness, she was still a fox. Her fox nature still couldn't be changed. Lu Yuan also smiled faintly. As expected, Helena was Helena. She was just different. She was bold, passionate, and didn't shy away. However, he liked this kind of Helena. Lu Yuan took the medicine bottle and walked to Helena's side. He squatted down slightly and looked at Helena's jade-like face, slightly blinking his eyes. Junior brother, you're so handsome. Looking at Lu Yuan, who was just inches away from her, Helena stared blankly at Lu Yuan's handsome face, and a trace of infatuation flashed through her eyes. Senior sister, you said that when you first fell in love with me, was it because I was handsome? Lu Yuan's index finger gently lifted Helena's chin and said with a smile. Yes, senior sister is also a face lover. Helena didn't deny it. Instead, she openly admitted it. At the beginning, she slowly fell in love with Lu Yuan because he was handsome, and then after getting along with him for a long time, she slowly fell in love with Lu Yuan. She was lusting after Lu Yuan's body, and she wouldn't deny it. TSK, honest. As expected of senior sister. You're really magnanimous, unlike the other two who obviously want to get close to me, but pretend to be shy. What's the point of this? Lu Yuan looked at Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing. Humph. Humph. The two women snorted at the same time. Their charming faces were slightly red, and they turned their heads away. Lu Yuan wasn't annoyed by the two women's actions. He chuckled and said faintly, actually, I like senior sisters because you're beautiful. If you were ugly, I wouldn't even look at you. I'm also a face lover. I'm just lusting after your body. Poochie. Helena chuckled, junior brother, you're also very honest. I've always been very honest. Lu Yuan smiled and pinched Helena's delicate face. Then, he stood up and walked 2 steps behind Helena. Looking at her swollen buttocks, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smack his lips. Did he hit her too hard? Now, it looked like he was really distressed. Senior sister, I'm going to help you take off your pants. Lu Yuan said softly. You take it off. Helena's pretty face was slightly red, and she said softly. Then I'll start. Lu Yuan said and began to work. After taking off Helena's pants, Lu Yuan quickly applied the medicine. As for how he took advantage of her, he said that, but in fact, he was just joking. He was just bored and wanted to tease these 3 women. Senior sister, after applying the medicine, how do you feel? After putting on Helena's clothes again, Lu Yuan asked with a chuckle. It's very comfortable. It's cold and I don't feel any pain at all. Helena's face showed a trace of surprise. Junior brother's medicine was too effective. Comfortable, right? This medicine was specially made by me. After applying it, in less than an hour, the wound on your buttocks will be healed. Lu Yuan said. This, so fast? Helena's eyes widened. Was there such an obvious healing effect? Of course, I'm an alchemist. This medicine was carefully prepared by me. Of course, the effect is good. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Carefully prepared? I see that when you carefully prepared it, you also deliberately planned it. Tell me, have you been planning this for a long time? Just to beat us up? Listening to Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow's voice sounded. Cher, how can you think of me like that? Am I such a person? Hearing this, Lu Yuan looked at Chihiro Snow and said with a serious face. Chapter 490. You are that kind of person. As soon as Lu Yuan finished speaking, Chihiro Snow's voice immediately sounded. Oh, Cher, it seems that you have a big misunderstanding about me. I think we need to have a good talk. Lu Yuan chuckled and walked towards Chihiro Snow. Smelly. Abuchi, what do you want? Seeing Lu Yuan walking towards him, Chihiro Snow's voice carried a trace of undetectable panic. What do you think I want? Lu Yuan's eyes carried a trace of playfulness, and the corner of his mouth hooked up into a meaningful smile. Abuchi, don't mess around, there are people here. Seeing Lu Yuan's meaningful smile, Chihiro Snow's heart suddenly became violently flustered. Zhu Zhuqing and Helena were here, and more importantly, it was daytime. Tonight, how about tonight? Chihiro Snow's voice carried a trace of pleading. What do you think? Lu Yuan smiled faintly, and his figure directly moved forward. Woo! Cher, how do you feel? Rubbing Chihiro Snow's head, Lu Yuan's mouth carried a trace of a smile. Chihiro Snow rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan. So you said to help me apply medicine. What else? What did you think I was going to do? Lu Yuan's face carried a trace of a mischievous smile. Cher, do you want to do it with me now? Although it's daytime now, but if you really want, Cher, I can accept. Lu Yuan winked at Chihiro Snow and said with a chuckle. Get lost, you want, pervert, you're bad. Chihiro Snow shouted. Just think, the matter between men and women is the principle of heaven and earth. What's there to be shy about? If you're too shy, you'll seem hypocritical. Look at senior apprentice sister, she never hides her thoughts. Lu Yuan said softly. Bah. Chihiro Snow spat. How could she compare to Helena? Not everyone was as bold as Helena. She had always been shy in this aspect, and it was not like this stinky guy didn't know. In the end, he deliberately made fun of her. How could she fall in love with this guy? Chihiro Snow fell into deep suspicion. Hee. Looking at Chihiro Snow's appearance, Lu Yuan did not tease her anymore. Teasing her was enough, it would not be good if it went too far. He still had to control his limits. Patting Chihiro Snow's little head, Lu Yuan's gaze turned to Zhu Zhuqing. Little kitty, it's your turn. You do it. Zhu Zhuqing's face was slightly red, but she could not help but nod. Since even Chihiro Snow had surrendered, what was the point of her persisting? Moreover, her butt was swollen, and it did hurt a little. That's a good girl. Like Cher, you struggled at the beginning, but in the end, didn't you say it was delicious? Isn't it better to just agree? Lu Yuan lightly ridiculed, causing Chihiro Snow to clench her teeth. This Abuchi was really getting more and more overboard. The three of them were probably going to be bullied to death by him. In the past, he was still somewhat in awe of her, but now? Looking at her current appearance, Chihiro Snow could not help but sigh. Abuchi was no longer the Abuchi who was obedient to her in the past. Blue skinny, mushroom. The current situation was that she was the one who was obedient. He said that he wanted her to control him, but in the end, she could not control him at all. She did not know what Jiu Yuana was like in front of Ibuchi. Was she like them, who allowed him to bully her, or was she like before, who controlled him everywhere? However, thinking about Jiu Yuana's strength, when she was with Ibuchi, she should be able to control Ibuchi. After all, she dared to tie up Ibuchi alone for a year. Such a thing, she, Chihiro Snow, would not do. Even in the past, she would not do it. And after doing it, not only did Ibuchi not get tired of it, but he even spoke up for her in front of her and others. With this method, did she completely conquer Ibuchi? It has to be said that Chihiro Snow was very good at thinking. If Jiu Yuana was in front of her, she would definitely say, "You think too much." In front of Lu Yuan, "I am not as good as you. You can still throw a tantrum, but I will do whatever he says. Except for being a little stronger, the rest, hehe, isn't it still easy for him to bully me?" Of course, Jiu Yuana did not know what Chihiro Snow was thinking, and Chihiro Snow also did not know that Jiu Yuana was like a little punching bag in front of Lu Yuan. She was simply bullied by him. If Chihiro Snow knew this, she might be even more shocked. "Okay, kitten, how do you feel?" Lu Yuan applied medicine for Zhu Zhuqing, rubbed Zhu Zhuqing's little head, and asked softly. "I feel very good, it doesn't hurt at all." Zhu Zhuqing's pretty face was a little red. Just now, Lu Yuan's fingers were in close contact with her skin, which made her a little shy, but also gave her a strange feeling. "It's good that it doesn't hurt." Pinching Zhu Zhuqing's face, Lu Yuan stood up and looked at the three women lying on the bed. Lu Yuan said softly, "You three stay here to recuperate, I have something to discuss with the teacher." "What's the matter?" Chihiro Snow asked. When it came to business, Chihiro Snow's eyes immediately became focused, and the expression on his face became more serious. "It's not a big deal, just some small things to the teacher. You rest for a while, I will be back in a while." Looking at Chihiro Snow's eyes with a trace of pity, Lu Yuan's mouth curved into a gentle smile. Looking at the familiar pity in Lu Yuan's eyes and the gentle smile on the corner of his mouth, Chihiro Snow's heart suddenly warmed. This is the right way to be Ibuchi. Who were those people just now? This is the Ibuchi who pampers her, loves her, and cherishes her. "Oh, right, what do you want to eat for lunch?" "I will let them prepare it." Just taking 2 steps, Lu Yuan turned back and asked the 3 women. "I am fine with anything." Chihiro Snow's gentle voice sounded. I want to eat fish." A little cold, this was Zhu Zhuqing's voice. "Well, I will remember, little greedy cat." Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's eyes with a trace of doting, he knew that as long as he asked Zhu Zhuqing this, it must be fish, all kinds of fish. "What about you, senior sister?" Lu Yuan's gaze turned to Hulena. "Me. Hulena's jade-like hand held her chin, thought for a while, and said, "I want to eat spicy rabbit head, iron plate beef tendon, steamed water swordfish, spicy 8 treasure chicken, red fruit cod soup." Stop. Looking at Hulena's list of dishes, Lu Yuan quickly stopped, looking at Hulena's eyes slightly strange. "I say, senior sister, are you a foodie? Can you finish so many dishes?" "Hehe, if I can't finish it, I have junior brother." "You have a big appetite, you can definitely finish it." Hulena chuckled. Looking at Hulena's appearance, Lu Yuan helplessly shook his head and said, "Then I will just pick a few from what you said, you rest first, I will go first." With that, he helplessly shook his head again, walked out of the door, and then closed the door. Chapter 491. As soon as Lu Yuan went out, the room suddenly quieted down. Without Lu Yuan, the 3 of them really had nothing to talk about when they were together. In the past year, other than when they first got together when the news of Lu Yuan's accident came, the other time was when Lu Yuan came back. It could be said that in the past 2 years, the 3 of them only got together twice. Chihiro Snow was lying in the middle, Hulena was on the right, and Zhu Zhuqing was on the left. "Hulena, I'm sorry about today," Chihiro Snow said softly, apologizing to Hulena. "Indeed, I'm also very sorry about today." Zhu Zhuqing's voice sounded. "Ibuchi is right. We are all his women, so we should get along well and not fight against each other. Today, when we saw you being beaten, we didn't plead for mercy. However, I can assure you that there won't be a next time, Chihiro Snow said. Hearing this, Helena was stunned. Her face showed a trace of surprise. She really didn't expect that Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing would apologize to her. This really surprised her. However, she wasn't an ordinary person. She quickly reacted. With a trace of shame on her face, she said, "Actually, I was also wrong. When I saw you being beaten, I was a little gloating in my heart. I also want to apologize to you." Alas, Chihiro Snow sighed and said, "Today's incident was a warning from Ibuchi. I've known him for almost 8 years. This is the first time he hit me. If it was in the past, I would never believe that he would do this to me. It seems that he was really angry today. He actually hit me in front of you." "Me too. This is the first time I've been spanked by someone." Zhu Zhuqing's slightly cold voice sounded. When she talked about being spanked, her face was slightly red with a trace of shyness. "I'm not. I've been spanked several times, but this time was the worst. My butt was swollen." Compared to Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing, Helena didn't care much. She was used to being spanked so many times that she was used to it. "You were asking for it. You had to provoke Ibuchi. You even said hit me if you have the ability. If you said that, it would be strange if Ibuchi didn't hit you." Listening to Helena's words, Chihiro Snow ridiculed. Hearing this, Helena stuck out her tongue. She was a little embarrassed. She was indeed asking for it. She even wondered if she had lost her mind at that time. "Today's incident reminded me that Ibuchi doesn't like us to be jealous. Then we should all restrain ourselves and get along well in the future. Don't provoke each other, so as not to make Ibuchi unhappy." This time, the thunder was big but the rain was small, but if there's a next time, I'm afraid Ibuchi will really be angry. Chihiro Snow's eyes flickered, and said softly, "Well, you're right." Zhu Zhuqing nodded gently. "I know this. The three of us get along well, but what about Jiu Yuena? Can she be like us?" Helena said. "Don't tell me you're still angry because Naer's name was stolen. If you really can't stand it, you can complain to Ibuchi. With his character, he will definitely comfort you. But don't target Jiu Yuena. This is Ibuchi's taboo. You've already been beaten up today. You should also know Ibuchi's attitude. He doesn't want to see his harem burn." Chihiro Snow's expression was serious, and his tone was serious. "Well, I know." Listening to Chihiro Snow's words, Helena nodded. "That's good. No matter what Jiu Yuena's attitude is, we just have to do our part. Ibuchi is not blind. On the contrary, he is extremely smart. What can be hidden from him? Maybe he has already noticed your little thoughts, but just didn't point it out. If you do something stupid, the unlucky one will definitely be you," Chihiro Snow warned. "Alas, I know." Helena sighed, and her expression was a little helpless. Was the name Na going to leave her just like that? "If I were you, instead of worrying about Naer's name, I'd rather show off in front of Ibuchi and give him a more intimate name. Wouldn't that be better?" Hearing Helena's sigh, Zhu Zhuqing said softly, "Yes." Helena suddenly understood, and a smile suddenly appeared on her face. "The reason why I care about Naer's name is because of Ibuchi. As long as Ibuchi can give me a more intimate name, then why should I worry about Naer's name?" "Thank you, Zhuqing," Helena said with a trace of gratitude on her face. "It's a small matter, don't worry about it," Zhu Zhuqing said. "By the way, Zhuqing, you've always been by Ibuchi's side. How much do you know about his love life?" Chihiro Snow asked. "You want to ask if he has other women, right?" Zhu Zhuqing glanced at Chihiro Snow and said softly. After being exposed by Zhu Zhuqing, Chihiro Snow didn't deny it, and instead generously admitted, "Yes, that's what I meant. Apart from the three of us and Jiu Yuena, who we don't know of, is there anyone else?" "There shouldn't be anyone else, but Ning Rongrong from the Seven Treasures Glazed sect is infatuated with Lu Yuan. She chased him from the Seven Treasures Glazed sect to Shrek Academy, and then from Shrek Academy to Heavenly Star Academy. Her feelings for Lu Yuan are very deep, but Lu Yuan has never accepted her. In the past, I didn't know why he rejected her, But now I know. What's the reason? Hulena asked. It's probably her personality. Ning Rongrong is known as the Little Witch. Apart from being a little restrained in front of Lu Yuan, she is quite arrogant in front of others. Lu Yuan is probably afraid that if he accepts her, his harem will not be peaceful. That's why he keeps rejecting her, Zhu Zhuqing said. Ning Rongrong? Chihiro Snow whispered, and asked, is there anyone else? If there's anyone else, it should be Dugu Yang. She also transferred to Heavenly Star Academy. Presumably, she came for Ibuchi. I don't know how deep her feelings for Ibuchi are, but she definitely has a good impression of him. What about Ibuchi? Chihiro Snow asked. Ibuchi seems to have no feelings for her. He didn't even say a few words to her. Thinking about it, Dugu Yang doesn't have much hope. Zhu Zhuqing gently blinked and said, that's good. Then looking at the situation, the most likely one is Ning Rongrong. Chihiro Snow fell into deep thought. She was thinking if Lu Yuan really liked Ning Rongrong, then she would support or oppose. What, you don't agree? Looking at Chihiro Snow, Zhu Zhuqing asked softly. Chapter 492. Zhu Zhuqing had a good opinion of Ning Rongrong. Otherwise, she wouldn't have persuaded Lu Yuan to take her in. However, the situation was different now. Zhu Zhuqing thought that Lu Yuan only had 3 women, so he didn't mind adding Ning Rongrong. However, she had now appeared out of nowhere. Now, there were 4. She might not be able to persuade Lu Yuan to take Ning Rongrong in. After all, with each additional person, the love she received would decrease. Humans were selfish. She naturally wanted more love from Lu Yuan. Well, Chihiro Snow didn't answer Zhu Zhuqing's question immediately. Instead, he looked at Hulena. If Ibuchi wants to take Ning Rongrong in, will you agree or disagree? I don't care. It's fine as long as he likes me. As long as he loves me as much as he does now, I don't care how many women he finds. Hulena said softly as she met Chihiro Snow's gaze. You're very open-minded. Chihiro Snow smiled after hearing Hulena's words. She knew that she wasn't as open-minded as Hulena. She didn't want Lu Yuan to be surrounded by more than 10 women. She couldn't accept that. However, if Ibuchi really likes Ning Rongrong, it's not impossible to take her in. After all, the 7 Treasures glazed sect will be in his hands if he takes her in. This is more reliable than using soul tools. Even if he knows that Ibuchi is from the Martial Soul Palace, he can only follow this path to the end. Chihiro Snow said softly. So you agree? Zhu Zhuqing looked at Qian Runxue with a trace of surprise in her eyes. Qian Runxue actually agreed so easily, which really made her a little surprised. Yes, I don't have any objections. As for this, it's mainly up to Ibuchi. I don't agree or disagree. It's all up to him. This should be the safest way. Chihiro Snow sighed softly and said. Yes. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but nod. It was best to let Lu Yuan handle these matters himself. I don't know what Ibuchi wants to talk about with that woman. They're so mysterious. Chihiro Snow murmured. His eyes flickered with curiosity. In the pavilion in the middle of the lake, Bibidon sat there quietly, admiring the scenery of the lake. Teacher. Looking at Bibidon's beautiful figure, Lu Yuan called out softly. He's here. Bibidon turned around and looked at the white-robed Lu Yuan. A faint smile appeared on her charming face. Come and sit, Ibuchi. Yes, teacher. Lu Yuan took a few steps forward and sat down on a stone bench beside Bibidon. It was currently April. The sky was clear and the sun was shining brightly. The weather was extremely suitable. One had to admit that pouring a cup of tea, sitting in the pavilion in the middle of the lake, and admiring the beautiful scenery of the lake, was really a very pleasant thing. Especially with a beauty like Bibidon present, it was even more pleasant. A beauty and a beautiful scenery, nothing more beautiful could be imagined. Have some tea. Bibidon picked up the teapot and personally poured a cup of tea for Lu Yuan. Thank you, teacher. Lu Yuan took the teacup from Bibidon's hand and took a sip. Then, he put down the teacup and cast his gaze on Bibidon. Bibidon was very beautiful today. Her beautiful face was paired with a faint smile. Her charm was limitless. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Bibidon asked softly when she noticed that he was sizing her up. "Teacher, you are really beautiful today," Lu Yuan said softly with admiration in his eyes. Bibidon was indeed very beautiful. At first glance, she was very stunning. If one looked carefully, they would find that her appearance was definitely not inferior to Chihiro Snow. Unlike Chen Renshue was sacred, pure, and youthful. On the other hand, Bibi Dong was dignified, elegant, graceful, and luxurious. His entire being was suffused with a mature aura. It was this mature aura that was even more charming. "You are being glib again. Even your teacher is being coaxed." Bibidon glared at Lu Yuan. In an instant, all kinds of flirtatious expressions were revealed, causing Lu Yuan to be slightly dazed. Bibidon's charm was really great. "Say it. What do you want to discuss with me?" Being praised by Lu Yuan, Bibidon's mouth had a hint of reprimand, but her face was full of smiles. "That's right. Which woman didn't like people saying that they were beautiful?" Bibidon was naturally no exception. Furthermore, she had never heard anyone say such words before. At the very least, that bookworm Yu Xiaogang had never said such words before. Now that she heard it from her disciple, it was really interesting. Looking at Bibidon's expression, Lu Yuan said softly, "Teacher, I might not be able to represent the Martial Soul Palace in the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament this time. I plan to form my own team to participate." "Is that so?" Bibidon pondered for a moment and said, "Since you want to do it, then do it. The Martial Soul Palace has won so many times. Losing once is nothing. Furthermore, losing to you isn't a big problem. The reward this time is 3 soul bones. I originally wanted to give them to the Golden Generation. After all, you don't lack soul bones. Furthermore, you might not be interested in those soul bones. However, if you form a team to participate in the tournament, they should land in your hands. If they land in your hands, that's fine. It's just that one of the skulls is very suitable for Nana. You can give it to her when the time comes. As for the other 2, you can keep them for yourself." Bibidon said gently, "Teacher, senior sister already has a skull. I gave it to her." As he spoke, Lu Yuan told Bibidon about the illusory skull. "Is that so?" Bibidon pondered for a moment and said, "Then you're going to give the wisdom skull to Zhu Qing?" Yes. Teacher, you're really smart. I really can't hide anything from you." Lu Yuan smiled as he flattered Hu Yuhao. "How can I be smarter than you? You're so young, but you have so many bad thoughts. Did you feel good after spanking their butts just now? I think I should really give you a beating too. You're always doing such messy things." When she thought about what happened not too long ago, Bibidon was both angry and amused. This precious disciple of hers was really capable of doing anything. He even spanked Nana and the others right in front of her. Did he think that she couldn't see him through her domain? After being glanced at by Bibidon, Lu Yuan was a little embarrassed as he scratched his head and pretended to be simple and honest. Seeing Lu Yuan pretending to be simple and honest, Bibidon couldn't help but find it funny. She slapped Lu Yuan's head lightly and said, "All right, don't I know what kind of person you are? Why are you still pretending in front of me?" Hee. Lu Yuan smiled awkwardly. He did not expect Bibi Dong to be able to see through him, so he could only put on a smile. "You." Looking at Lu Yuan's appearance, Bibidon sighed softly. She raised her hand and gently rubbed Lu Yuan's head. At the same time, a faint fragrance spread from Bibidon's body. Chapter 493. Feeling Bibidon's gentle touch and smelling the faint fragrance, Lu Yuan's heart couldn't help but speed up a bit. Unexpectedly, he stretched out his right hand and held Bibidon's jade hand in his palm, and then pressed it against his right cheek. Seeing this, Bibidon was stunned at first, then a smile appeared on her pretty face. She gently stroked his cheek, her eyes full of care. Creak. The door was pushed open, and Lu Yuan walked in. Looking at the three women lying on the bed chatting happily, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. It seemed that these three women got along well with each other while he was away. The spanking in the morning was not in vain. Sure enough, after spanking, they became much more obedient. Cough cough, three beauties, this king is back. Lu Yuan coughed and said loudly, "Come back, don't be so loud." Chihiro Snow glanced at Lu Yuan, and then turned his head back as if nothing had happened. "That's right, this king, don't be serious." On this side, Zhu Zhuqing rolled her eyes, looked at Lu Yuan, and said snappily, "Ah." Seeing the reaction of these two women, Lu Yuan couldn't help but be surprised. Why did he feel a little disdained? Hee hee. Helena laughed and looked at Lu Yuan, her beautiful eyes smiling. "Junior brother, you're back?" "Ian, I'm back." Looking at Helena's small face, Lu Yuan nodded. This was the right way to open. Sure enough, senior sister is the best. Lu Yuan sped up and walked forward a few steps, sat down beside Helena, gently stroked her short golden hair, and said, "How do you feel now? Does it still hurt?" "It doesn't hurt, it's mostly better. Junior brother, your medicine is very effective," Helena said. "That's natural." The corners of Lu Yuan's lips curled up slightly, and his expression was somewhat smug. This was something that he had personally concocted, so how could it not be effective? Helena grabbed Lu Yuan's hand and placed it on her face as she asked in a tender voice, "That's right, junior brother, what did you talk about with teacher?" "Nothing much. We just talked about the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament. I won't be able to participate in the tournament with you guys this time. I'll be forming a team that belongs to the Dragon King's Palace, and it'll be called the Heavenly Star Team," Lu Yuan said. "Did the teacher agree?" Helena asked. "The teacher has agreed. She even said that as long as I want to do something, I can do it freely. She will support me from behind." Lu Yuan smiled from the bottom of his heart. It was so bright that Helena, who was standing beside him, stared at him in a daze. Listening to Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow, who had been quiet, suddenly said, "She treats you well." "Share." Hearing Chihiro Snow's words, Lu Yuan was stunned for a moment before he sighed softly. There was still a huge gap between Chihiro Snow and Bibidon. "Don't hate teacher so much in the future, okay?" Lu Yuan said softly, and there was a hint of pleading in his tone. Whether it was Chihiro Snow or Bibidon, they were the most important people to him. He didn't want their relationship to continue to be so stiff. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow was silent for a moment before he agreed, "Okay." She understood Lu Yuan's painstaking efforts. Since she was already willing to stay here, Chihiro Snow actually had thoughts of reconciling with Bibidon. Bibidon was the same. It was just that both of them couldn't break through the shackles in their hearts. "I knew my share was the best," Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. "Kumbi. Kumbi." Two voices filled with jealousy sounded, especially when he felt a pain in his hand. It turned out that Helena had directly bitten the back of his hand. Lu Yuan smiled bitterly. He had forgotten the most important thing, which was that there were still two women present. In the blink of an eye, it was already the morning of the next day. Lu Yuan opened his eyes, and his polychoria flickered. Although he had been busy until very late last night, he was still full of energy in the morning. Thinking about what happened last night, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smack his lips. That feeling was really wonderful. After living for so long, last night was the most wonderful day of his life. Looks like this can happen more often in the future, Lu Yuan thought to himself. His gaze shifted slightly as he looked at the two naked women who were hugging him tightly and fast asleep. Lu Yuan's heart was exceptionally satisfied. Chihiro Snow's cheeks were slightly red, and her golden hair was slightly messy. Her usual holiness had disappeared without a trace. Instead, she had a bit more worldly aura, like a fairy who had fallen into the mortal world, and was exceptionally alluring. On the other hand, Helena's fair face was so soft that it seemed like water could be pinched out. She hugged Lu Yuan tightly, her face pressed against Lu Yuan's chest. Faint saliva flowed out from the corner of her mouth, and she looked very cute. Looking at Helena like this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. This girl was really cute and innocent. Last night, when they were together, she was the craziest. In the end, she was exhausted, and now she was sleeping like a log. Cher was much smarter. She knew that she couldn't do it, so she decisively surrendered, unlike her who liked to hold on. If he didn't have tender feelings for her, he didn't know what would have happened to her. Hugging the two of them gently, Lu Yuan sighed in satisfaction. Come to think of it, this should be what happiness is. Creak. A soft sound was heard. The door was pushed open, and Zhu Zhuqing tiptoed in. Her martial soul was an agility-type superb martial soul, the 9 lives lynx. Moreover, she cultivated the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions, so she really didn't make any sound when she walked. However, Lu Yuan's senses were very sensitive, and he saw her at first glance. Zhu Zhuqing's lips moved slightly, as if she was saying something. Lu Yuan nodded slightly, then gently removed the 2 women's arms that were wrapped around his body. Lu Yuan's movements were very gentle, and they were in a deep sleep, so he didn't wake them up. Lu Yuan climbed out of bed, put on his clothes, and covered the 2 women with a blanket. Then, he walked out with Zhu Zhuqing. Why are they still sleeping? Are they tired from last night? Zhu Zhuqing's eyes flickered slightly as she asked softly. Heh, don't be envious. You'll have a day like this too. Lu Yuan saw through Zhu Zhuqing's thoughts and chuckled softly. Zhu Zhuqing blushed when she heard that. She really couldn't hide anything in front of Lu Yuan. He could see through her thoughts. The teacher should be waiting. I'll go to your room to wash up first. The 2 of them are still sleeping, and I'll wake them up if I stay here, Lu Yuan said softly. Okay. Zhu Zhuqing nodded, then brought Lu Yuan to her room. After washing up, Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing walked towards the pavilion in the middle of the lake. Chapter 494. At the pavilion in the middle of the lake, Bibidon put down her bowl and chopsticks. She took out a silk handkerchief and wiped her mouth. She looked at Lu Yuan and asked, Are you done eating? I'm done. Lu Yuan nodded and said, Okay, it's good that you're done eating. Rest for a while and follow me to the Pope's palace, Bibidon said softly. Go to the Pope's palace? Teacher, what is it that you want to announce today? Why are you being so mysterious? Lu Yuan asked curiously. Hehe, it's a good thing for you. Bibidon laughed softly. Oh. Lu Yuan gave a soft oh. Looking at the smile on Bibi Dong's face and her serious expression, a thought gradually emerged in his mind. Could it be that his teacher wanted to? If that's the case, it might be possible. I'm afraid that it's a good thing for me. Lu Yuan guessed in his heart. Is Nana sleeping again? Bibidon asked. Yes, senior sister hasn't woken up yet, Lu Yuan said. You only know how to fool around. What should I say to you? Bibidon looked at Lu Yuan helplessly. Why can't these young people control themselves? Hee. Lu Yuan scratched his head and began his journey of playing the fool again. Bibidon looked at Lu Yuan and shook her head helplessly. Forget it, let them deal with their own matters. It's better for me not to interfere. Looking at the sky, the sun had already risen and shone brightly on the world. Bibidon said softly, Let's go. It's about time. Okay. Lu Yuan nodded and asked, Teacher, can Zhuqing come along? It's fine if Zhuqing comes along. I'm just afraid that Nana and the others will be worried if they can't find you when they wake up. So, it's better for Zhuqing to stay and take care of them, Bibidon said. Is that so? Lu Yuan nodded slightly and said to Zhu Zhuqing, Zhuqing, you stay here for now. I'll be back soon. All right. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. Good girl. Lu Yuan gently stroked Zhu Zhuqing's long hair with a gentle smile on his face. Let's go, Abuchi. Bibidon walked in front with his scepter in hand. Teacher, I'm coming. Lu Yuan patted Zhu Zhuqing's head again and followed behind Bibidon. Inside the pontiff's palace, Bibidon sat high up on the Pope's throne, holding the golden scepter in his hand, showing off his might. Lu Yuan, on the other hand, stood beside Bibi Dong and looked condescendingly at the elders below. It had to be said that there were quite a lot of elders here today. Besides those from the Pope's palace, even the golden crocodile and the others were all present. This once again confirmed Lu Yuan's guess. Bibidon held the scepter, his beautiful eyes slowly sweeping across the elders below. His red lips slightly opened, and a clear but majestic voice rang out. Today, I've gathered all the elders here because I have a very important matter to announce. As soon as Bibidon spoke, the entire Pope's palace instantly quieted down. Abuchi. Bibidon called out softly, "Teacher." Lu Yuan responded and took 2 steps forward. My second disciple, Lu Yuan, is extraordinarily talented and has made many contributions to the martial soul palace. Whether it is his character or talent, he is the best in the world. Therefore, I would like to appoint him as the holy son of our martial soul palace. I wonder if the elders have any objections. When Bibi Dong's voice sounded, some elders started to whisper among themselves. However, no one dared to openly reject Bibi Dong's proposal. Abuchi, let the elders see your strength, Bibidon said softly. Yes, teacher. Lu Yuan took another step forward, and a bright golden light began to emit from his body. The bright golden light formed a huge domain, enveloping the entire Pope's palace. Talent domain? Below, some of the elders' faces changed immediately. A talent domain was not something that an ordinary soul master could have. Only those with extremely high talent could have a talent domain. However, releasing the domain was just the beginning. Bright golden light burst forth, and a loud dragon's roar resounded throughout the entire Pope's palace. The golden dragon martial soul was attached to Lu Yuan's body, and its whole body seemed to be made of gold. It appeared to be very powerful, and the dragon's wings slowly stretched out, bringing with them gusts of wind. Golden scales began to climb on Lu Yuan's body. Both his arms and legs were covered by diamond-shaped golden scales. The dragon's aura burst out, and the pressure of the golden dragon martial soul was released without restraint. Suddenly, many of the elders' faces changed slightly. The golden dragon martial soul was too strong, and it suppressed their martial souls. Lu Yuan took a step forward, and his first soul ring began to appear. Purple. His first soul ring was a beautiful purple. He took another step forward, and his second soul ring appeared. Purple. The second soul ring was still purple. Black. The third soul ring appeared, and this time it was no longer purple, but a deep black. Black. The fourth soul ring was still shining with a deep black light, and that deep black seemed to be engraved in the hearts of the elders. But the most shocking one was the fifth soul ring. After the fourth black ring, Lu Yuan's aura suddenly soared, and a demonic red light suddenly appeared, forming a red halo that appeared under Lu Yuan's feet. Purple, purple, black, black, and red. As soon as the 5 soul rings appeared, Lu Yuan's aura was like a dragon that came out of the abyss, soaring into the sky. 100,000-year soul ring? An elder swallowed his saliva with difficulty and looked at Lu Yuan's 5th soul ring with a shocked expression. Hiss. All the elders and consecrators sucked in a breath of cold air. Even the golden crocodile, who was very close to Lu Yuan, had a look of disbelief on his face. 100,000-year soul ring was really too shocking. My disciple Lu Yuan, 14 years old this year, a rank 57 battle soul king. His soul rings are purple, purple, black, black, and red, and he has the golden dragon domain. His talent is the highest in the Douluo continent. I hereby confer him the title of Holy Son. Elders, do you have any objections? Bibidon's voice was full of dignity. Reporting to your holiness, we have no objections. All the elders bowed and no longer had any objections to Bibidon's decision. A 14-year-old rank 57 battle soul king, the owner of a superb martial soul, the golden dragon domain, and his soul rings are purple, purple, black, black, and red. Was he still human? Even a monster wasn't enough to call him, right? With such talent, how could they have any objections? What about the consecrators? Bibidon asked again. We have no objections. The consecrators led by the golden crocodile said. Since no one has any objections, then I hereby announce that from now on, Lu Yuan is the holy son of our martial soul palace, the future successor to the Pope. Bibidan's voice sounded. Greetings to your highness the Holy Son. Bibidan's voice fell, and the elders' voices sounded again. So, I'm the Holy Son now? Looking at the elders below who bowed to him, Lu Yuan smiled. This feeling is not bad, Lu Yuan thought to himself. Chapter 495. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed since Lu Yuan was conferred the title of Holy Disciple. Today, it was time for them to part again. There were only 3 months left until the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament. Lu Yuan had to go back and prepare for his team. Junior brother, I can't bear to part with you. Helena hugged Lu Yuan's neck and couldn't bear to let go. Although she had been sticking to Lu Yuan for the past 2 months, she still couldn't bear to part with Lu Yuan. Even if it was just for a short while, she still couldn't bear to part with him. Alright, it's only a few months. I'll be back again. Just stay in Martial Soul City obediently. After the finals, I'll be able to accompany you again, right? Lu Yuan said softly. But I can't bear to part with you. Why don't I go with you to Heaven Do? Helena blinked her beautiful eyes and looked hopefully at Lu Yuan. What are you talking about? You're just fooling around. Lu Yuan flicked his finger at Helena's smooth forehead. Immediately, Helena's face turned bitter and she looked pitifully at Lu Yuan. Seeing Helena's pitiful face, Lu Yuan's heart couldn't help but soften. The thing he couldn't stand the most was Helena looking at him with such a pitiful expression. Gently caressing Helena's face, Lu Yuan said gently, you should stay in Martial Soul City. The Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament is coming. You have to get used to your teammates and make some preparations. Otherwise, you'll lose before you meet my team. Then, the Martial Soul Palace will lose a lot of face. How can that be? Our Martial Soul Palace team is very strong. Unless we meet you, we won't lose. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Helena immediately retorted fiercely. Really? Lu Yuan smiled faintly. There's always someone better than you out there. Who knows, there might be a powerful battle team out there. If you guys were to lose to them due to carelessness, that would be a huge embarrassment. When that happens, don't come crying to me. Helena opened her cherry lips, revealing her snow-white teeth as she threatened Lu Yuan, we won't lose. Stinky junior brother, you actually dare to look down on us. Do you believe that I won't bite you? Yes, I do. Lu Yuan rolled his eyes at Helena and said, I have always been a little confused. You are obviously a fox, not a puppy. Why do you like to bite people so much? Mph, I love to bite, and I only want to bite you, stinky junior brother. Helena snorted and said with a little pride. Hee hee. Lu Yuan chuckled and pinched Helena's delicate nose. He said, little fox, didn't you always want an affectionate nickname? Nair is no longer a nickname. In the future, I'll call you Little Fox. Zhu Qing is a kitten, and you are Little Fox. Ian, it's quite catchy. What do you think? Lu Yuan smiled as he looked at Helena. If it wasn't for Chihiro Snow's reminder, he really wouldn't have known that Helena was angry because the nickname Nair was stolen. At that time, he felt both angry and amused. This Helena was really cute. I think it's okay. Hearing Lu Yuan call her Little Fox, Helena's big eyes curved into crescents. At that time, she spoke in an indifferent tone, which almost made Lu Yuan laugh. This Helena was really interesting. You also learned to be arrogant. Little Fox. Rubbing Helena's little head, Lu Yuan's eyes were full of smiles. Helena snorted and didn't answer. She just kept rubbing her cheek against Lu Yuan's face. Suddenly, Lu Yuan felt a strange feeling. Okay, stop messing around. I should go. Let me go. Lu Yuan said softly as he grabbed Helena's wrist. Okay. Sensing the seriousness in Lu Yuan's tone, Helena reluctantly let go of Lu Yuan. Her eyes were full of affection. Okay, wait for me to come back, little fox. Lu Yuan said with a smile as he gently pinched Helena's cheek. Ian, I will wait for you to come back. Helena said. Lu Yuan smiled and nodded to Bibi Dong, who was not far away. Teacher, I'll take my leave first. Go. Be careful on the road. Also, take care of yourself. If you need any help, send a message back. Teacher will fully support you. Bibidon said. Yen, thank you, teacher. I understand. Goodbye, teacher. Lu Yuan waved at Bibidon and turned to walk toward the carriage not far away. Zhuqing, Sister Xiaodao, let's go. Holding Zhu Zhuqing's hand, Lu Yuan called for Ma Xiaodao, who had been watching from the side. They got into the carriage and headed straight for Heaven Do Imperial City. We are finally back. Lu Yuan sighed as he looked at the familiar scenery outside. Yen, it has been a year since we left Heaven Do Imperial City. We are finally back. Zhu Zhuqing nodded. I wonder how the situation is now. A year ago, Uncle Yang was sent back to preside over the Dragon King Palace. I wonder how the Dragon King Palace is doing now? Lu Yuan said as he tapped his chin with his right hand. Won't we know when we go back? Zhu Zhuqing said. Yen, let's go back to the Dragon King Palace first. We will check on the current situation of the Dragon King Palace. After that, we will return to Heaven Star Academy to prepare for the battle team. Lu Yuan said. Do as you see fit. Zhu Zhuqing said with a smile. Hearing this, Lu Yuan gently stroked Zhu Zhuqing's long hair. A trace of emotion flashed across his eyes. He was also very interested in the current situation of the Dragon King Palace. Dragon King Palace. Looking at the somewhat familiar building in front of him, Lu Yuan couldn't help but sigh in his heart. It has been more than a year since he returned to this place. It could be seen that the Dragon King Palace was developing very fast. Even the number of guards at the entrance had increased. There were many more hidden mechanisms in the whole building. It seemed that they had been installed in the past year. Holding Zhu Zhuqing's hand, he walked into the Dragon King Palace. The three of you, please stop. This is the encampment of the Dragon King Palace. You are not allowed to trespass. Lu Yuan and the rest had just taken a few steps forward when they were stopped by the guards. Looking at Lu Yuan, who was stopped, a trace of a smile flashed across Zhu Zhuqing's eyes. The dignified Dragon King Palace Master was actually stopped in front of his own gate. This is really interesting. Looking at the middle-aged guard in front of him, the corner of Lu Yuan's mouth twitched slightly. He had forgotten that after leaving for more than a year, these new guards didn't recognize him. But fortunately, he was prepared in advance. Do you recognize this? A light flashed in Lu Yuan's hand and a token appeared in his hand. The token was silver in color and had a majestic golden dragon engraved on it. When this token appeared, the guard's expression suddenly changed. Chapter 496. This is the Dragon King's badge. The guard's expression changed when he saw the silver badge in Lu Yuan's hand, and he couldn't help but exclaim. The Dragon King's badge was the highest badge in the Dragon King Hall, and there were only 4 people in the Dragon King Hall who possessed it. One of them was the guardian of the Dragon King Hall, the Dragon Emperor Douluo, Long Xiaoyao. One of them was the current host of the Dragon King Hall, the Bright Phoenix Douluo, Yang Shaozhe. The other was the Hall Master of the Dragon King Hall, who was also one of the elders, the Poison Douluo, Dugu Bo. Other than them, there was only one other person who possessed the Dragon King's badge, and that was the Hall Master of the Dragon King Hall, Lu Yuan, who hadn't shown his face for more than a year. Could this young man in front of him be the Hall Master? The guard's expression changed, and he felt that he might have met the legendary Hall Master. Sir, could it be that you are? The guard bowed and asked respectfully. I am Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan naturally knew what this guard was thinking, and didn't deny it. Instead, he admitted his identity. Was there any need to hide his identity in front of his own family? After hearing Lu Yuan's name, the guard immediately knelt down on one knee. Greetings, Hall Master. Get up. Lu Yuan said plainly. Thank you, Hall Master. The guard stood up. Where is Her Majesty Mingfeng? Lu Yuan asked. Elder Mingfeng should be discussing something with Elder Dugu in the medicine hall, the guard said. Then lead the way. We'll go to the medicine hall now, Lu Yuan said. Yes, hall master. The guard acknowledged. Hall master, please follow me. As he spoke, he led the way. Lu Yuan and the other two followed behind. Lu Yuan, when did you come up with this Dragon King's badge? As they walked, Zhu Zhuqing's doubtful voice sounded. Oh, you mean that? Lu Yuan waved the token in his hand and said, it was prepared when the Dragon King Palace was established. After all, the Martial Soul Palace has the Pope's decree, and the Consecration Hall has the Angel's decree. Our Dragon King Palace can't fall behind, so we created the Dragon King's decree. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Oh. Zhu Zhuqing nodded. It turned out to be like this. As for the Dragon King's medallion, only titled Douluo elders in the hall can possess it. It's a symbol of status. Sister Xiaodao, you're also a titled Douluo, so I'll give this to you. Lu Yuan tossed the Dragon King's medallion to Ma Xiaodao, who received it with a smile on her face. Carefully playing with the Dragon King's decree in her hand, Ma Xiaodao suddenly asked, Little brother, why is this Dragon King's decree designed like this? Ma Xiaodao couldn't help but ask as she looked at the Dragon King's medallion in her hand. Hearing this, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and said, the Dragon King's medallion naturally represents the Dragon King. The Golden Dragon represents the Golden Dragon, which is the strongest power. The silvery white base represents the Silver Dragon, which controls the power of the elements. The Golden Dragon and the Silver Dragon are the true Dragon Kings who command the Dragon Clan. Lu Yuan said softly, as his mind was filled with thoughts. There were still some things he didn't say. The design of this Dragon King's medallion was actually to commemorate Jiyu Yuana. The Golden Dragon represented him, and the silvery white base represented Jiyu Yuana. This Dragon King's medallion represented that he and Jiyu Yuana were as close as one, and couldn't be separated. He couldn't always be by Jiyu Yuana's side, so he could only use this method to express some of his feelings. Hearing this, Ma Xiaodao nodded. She understood what Lu Yuan meant. She had been in the Great Stardow Forest for more than a year, and she had already understood Jiyu Yuana's identity. However, Zhu Zhuqing was a little confused. She could guess that the Golden Dragon represented Lu Yuan, but who did the Silver Dragon represent? Thoughts quickly flashed through her mind. It can't be Chihiro Snow. She should be an angel. Helena can't be right either. She's a fox. It's even more impossible for her. She's a cat. Could it be that Jiyu Yuana, who I've never seen before? This is very likely. If it's Jiyu Yuana, it also explains why Lu Yuan fell in love with her. That's because the Golden Dragon and Silver Dragon are attracted to each other. Lu Yuan told her this before. If Jiyu Yuana has the Silver Dragon bloodline, then it's no wonder that Lu Yuan still fell in love with Jiyu Yuana despite the three of them trying to stop him. Perhaps this is an instinct that comes from the depths of the bloodline. It also fits the irresistible factor that this guy mentioned before. Looking at the slightly silent Zhu Zhuqing, how could Lu Yuan not know what she was thinking? Patting her head gently, Lu Yuan opened his mouth slightly, and a passage of words passed from Lu Yuan's mouth into Zhu Zhuqing's ears. He told Zhu Zhuqing about his thoughts, as well as the situation between him and Jiyu Yuana. After knowing Lu Yuan's true thoughts, Zhu Zhuqing's face suddenly had a smile again. As long as there is a legitimate reason, and he doesn't unreasonably favor Jiyu Yuana, it's fine. Thinking that she can accompany Lu Yuan, then it's understandable that Lu Yuan designed the Dragon King's decree in memory of Jiyu Yuana. It's just a cold token. How can it compare to a big living person accompanying him? Gently pinching Lu Yuan's palm, Zhu Zhuqing only felt satisfaction in her heart. Feeling the pressure from his hand, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Sure enough, Zhu Zhuqing is still sensible. As long as I explain the reason to her, then everything will be fine. The few of them continued forward, and not long after, they arrived at the medicine hall. The medicine hall was a hall that Lu Yuan had set up when he first established the Dragon King Hall. Like the Soul Tool Hall, it was one of the two most basic halls in the Dragon King Hall. The hall master was naturally Douluo Bo. When Lu Yuan arrived, Douluo Bo and Yang Shaozhe were discussing. The two of them were discussing some issues regarding the Dragon King Hall's development. It was obvious that the two of them were very concerned about the Dragon King Hall. Lu Yuan couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. It seemed like he didn't really care much about the Dragon King Hall's affairs apart from the beginning. Both of them were titled Douluo, and their senses were naturally extraordinary. When Lu Yuan and the rest arrived, the two of them discovered them. "Greetings, my lord." Yang Shaozhe immediately bowed. "You're back, Hallmaster." Douluo was stunned at first, but there was a look of ecstasy on his face as he hurriedly came forward to welcome him. "Uncle Yang, Elder Douluo." Lu Yuan greeted the two of them. "Hallmaster, you're finally back. You've been gone for more than a year, and I'm exhausted. If not for Brother Yang coming and helping me share my burden, I wouldn't have been able to manage the Dragon King Hall alone." Douluo immediately started to complain as he looked at Lu Yuan. Hearing this, Lu Yuan laughed awkwardly and said, "I had some urgent matters to attend to, and I couldn't leave. I've troubled Elder Douluo for the past year." Faced with Douluo's complaints, Lu Yuan could only smile bitterly and comfort him. It was indeed a little unreasonable for him to disappear for more than a year. Furthermore, the Dragon King Hall was able to develop to its current state because of Douluo. Of course, Lu Yuan was well aware of this. Chapter 497. You're too polite. I'm also a member of the Dragon King Palace. It's only right for me to work a little harder. However, you're not around, and there's no one to discuss some things with. I can't make a decision, and that's the most important thing. You know, Hallmaster. Although I'm quite efficient, I can't see the big picture. How would I know about these things? Fortunately, I had Brother Yang's help, and we managed to survive for more than a year. Furthermore, the Dragon King Palace has made great progress under Brother Yang's leadership. We can be said to be the leader of the 4 upper sects now. Our strength can't be compared to a year ago. Douluo said with a smile. "Oh." Lu Yuan raised his eyebrows slightly. His Dragon King Palace had made such great progress in just over a year. Our Dragon King Palace has indeed expanded a lot over the past year. However, I can't tell you everything in a short time. Let's go in and take a seat before we talk, my lord. Yang Shaozhe said. "All right, let's go in first." Lu Yuan nodded and said. The medicine hall was huge. Lu Yuan and the rest entered and found a tea room to sit down. Every hall had a tea room that was specially used to receive guests. Lu Yuan pulled Zhu Zhuqing to the main seat and looked at the rest. "Everyone, please take a seat." As soon as Lu Yuan finished speaking, Douluo unceremoniously sat down. However, Yang Shaozhe remained standing. Since Yang Shaozhe was standing, Ma Xiaodao naturally stood as well. After all, no matter how carefree she was, Yang Shaozhe was still her teacher. Since Yang Shaozhe didn't sit, she naturally wouldn't sit either. "Uncle Yang, take a seat too. You don't have to stand to report. There aren't many people here now, so we don't have to be so formal." "Sister Xiaodao, take a seat too," Lu Yuan said to Ma Xiaodao. "Teacher." Ma Xiaodao looked at Yang Shaozhe with her big eyes. Her gaze was filled with questions. Yang Shaozhe rolled his eyes at Ma Xiaodao speechlessly. "Since my lord has instructed, take a seat if you want to. Why are you looking at me?" Based on Ma Xiaodao's behavior just now, who didn't know that she wanted to sit down? Hee. Ma Xiaodao stuck out her tongue. After Yang Shaozhe sat down, she found a chair and sat down as well. As soon as everyone sat down, a maid walked in with tea and placed a cup in front of everyone. "Palace Master, how about you try this tea? This clear spirit tea is made according to the formula you left in the medicine hall. Now, this clear spirit tea is one of the main products of our Dragon King Palace. It is quite popular among the nobles." Douluo said with a chuckle. "Oh, have you made it?" Lu Yuan's face showed a trace of surprise. He had indeed left some simple elixir formulas and some other miscellaneous formulas in the medicine hall. This clear spirit tea was one of them. These things didn't require any profound alchemy skills. As long as one had some basic knowledge of medicine, They could basically follow these formulas and make those simple elixirs. It was just that the effects wouldn't be as good as those made by Lu Yuan. Now, Lu Yuan was the only one in the Dragon King Palace who knew how to refine elixirs. He couldn't possibly leave all the work of refining elixirs to Lu Yuan alone. Not to mention whether that would tire him to death, how would he have the time to cultivate? Hence, when the Dragon King Palace was first established, Lu Yuan had left the refining methods of some of the most basic elixirs to Douluo and asked him to find someone to make them himself. Looking at the current situation, his move back then could be considered quite successful. How about I try it? Lu Yuan gently lifted the lid of the cup. Immediately, a wisp of white mist floated out. A faint fragrance entered his mind from the tip of his nose, and he immediately felt much more relaxed. Yes, it's this fragrance. Lu Yuan nodded gently before taking a sip. The tea was light, but there was a hint of sweetness. It wasn't like ordinary tea that had a hint of bitterness. After the sweetness, an ice-cold aura rushed into his brain from his mouth. Immediately, he felt refreshed and his eyes became much more lively. How is it, Palace Master? Douluo asked with a smile. Not bad. You have made this clear spirit tea. Lu Yuan nodded slightly with a smile on his face. Zhuqing, you should try it too. This clear spirit tea can dispel fatigue and refresh one's mind. It also has certain benefits for the body. Lu Yuan said to Zhuqing who was beside him. Okay. Zhuqing nodded and picked up the teacup to take a sip. With Lu Yuan taking the lead, Ma Xiaodao was naturally curious. However, she didn't sip the tea. Instead, she picked up the teacup and took a big gulp. She didn't have the mood of tasting tea at all. Chewing on peonies. Seeing Ma Xiaodao's actions, Lu Yuan shook his head helplessly. He turned to Yang Shaozhe and said, Uncle Yang, tell me about the current situation of the Dragon King Hall. Let me have a rough understanding. Yes, Master. Yang Shaozhe nodded with a serious expression on his face. He said seriously, as of now, the Dragon King Hall has 3 main halls. The first is the Medicine Hall. Brother Douluo is in charge of it now. Under him, there are 2 Soul Douluo, 20 Soul Sages, and more than 2,000 Soul Emperors. The business of the Medicine Hall is the main source of income for the Dragon King Hall. It mainly relies on the recipes that Master left behind to concoct low-tier pills and various miscellaneous items, such as clear spirit tea. These things sell very well, and are very popular among the aristocrats. Therefore, the Dragon King Hall can earn quite a bit of income every month. The second is the Soul Tool Hall. I'm in charge of it now, and the Frenzy Rhino Douluo occasionally supervises it. The Soul Tool Hall hasn't developed very quickly over the past year, because the knowledge of soul tools is too profound. It's very difficult for ordinary people to grasp it. The remaining soul tools in the Soul Tool Hall are those that Master created in the past few months. However, there aren't many of them left. Over the past year, the 7 Treasures Glazed sect has taken away many soul tools. They have a huge demand for these soul tools. However, Master hasn't returned yet. The Dragon King Hall can't have no soul tools in storage. Therefore, we left a few soul tools in storage. Otherwise, they would have taken all of them. However, although the Soul Tool Hall doesn't have enough soul tools, there are quite a lot of soul masters. There are 2 Soul Douluo, 20 Soul Sages, and almost 2,000 soul masters who aren't soul emperors. Lastly, there's the Law Enforcement Hall. The Law Enforcement Hall is in charge of my father, the Dragon Emperor Douluo. The Law Enforcement Hall has the fewest members, only 200. However, these 200 people are all at least Soul Kings. They are divided into 4 small teams, which are called Wind, Fire, Thunder, and Lightning. The leader of each small team is a Soul Douluo, and each small team has 5 Soul Sages and at least 10 Soul Emperors. Their strength is quite impressive. Chapter 498. In addition, there are a few vassal clans under the 3 halls. The Dragon King Hall's current strength is barely passable. However, it's still far from Master's goal. Yang Shaozhe sounded a little dissatisfied as he spoke. It's already very good. The Dragon King Hall has developed to such a scale in just a year. It's already greatly exceeded my expectations. Lu Yuan smiled. According to Yang Shaozhe, the Dragon King Hall had developed rapidly over the past year. Excluding the Frenzy Rhino Douluo, there were now Long Xiaoyaro, Yang Shaozhe, Ma Xiaodao, and Dugu Bo. Apart from the Martial Soul Palace, no other organization could compare to the Dragon King Hall. So what if the Clear Sky sect had 6 titled Douluo? Long Xiaoyaro could destroy all of them alone. It could be said that the Dragon King Palace no longer lacked top-notch combat strength. According to Yang Shaozhe, the 3 halls had 2 Soul Douluo. The Medicine Hall had 2, the Soul Tool Hall had 2, and the Enforcement Hall had 4. There were a total of 8 Soul Douluo. 8 Soul Douluo were already very powerful. The Platinum Bishop of the Martial Soul Palace was only a Soul Douluo. However, the Platinum Bishop was a rank 89 Soul Douluo, just like Sokka's. A Soul Douluo could support an entire sect. It was just like how the strongest people in the 4 lower sects were only Soul Douluo. As for Soul Sages, there were no less than 60 in the Dragon King Palace. This number was already very impressive. Soul Sages were considered rare experts on the continent. Even the famous Golden Iron Triangle had 2 Soul Sages among them. There were also more than 4,000 Soul Masters below the Soul Emperor level. This was enough to support the foundation of a large organization. It was foreseeable that the Dragon King Hall would become more and more powerful as time passed. However, Lu Yuan was still a little doubtful. Uncle Yang, I heard you say that the Dragon King Hall already has 8 Soul Douluo. Soul Douluo are very rare. How did you manage to recruit so many Soul Douluo? Lu Yuan was curious as he looked at Yang Shaozhe. Haha, let me do the talking, Dugu Bo said with a chuckle. Oh, Senior Dugu, please speak your mind, Lu Yuan said. Just as you thought, Hall Master, it's very difficult to find Soul Douluo. The Dragon King Palace has only recruited 4 Soul Douluo. 2 of them are old friends of mine. After I invited them, they joined the Dragon King Palace. They're now working in Brother Yang's Soul Tool Hall. Dugu Bo said. When he heard that, Lu Yuan nodded. He naturally understood that Dugu Bo had arranged for his 2 old friends to be Yang Shaozhe's subordinates. This was to avoid suspicion and show others that he had no intention of forming a clique for personal gain. In fact, even if Dugu Bo didn't do this, Lu Yuan wouldn't have suspected him. Lu Yuan trusted Dugu Bo's character. Although this old man had a weird temper, he was someone who kept his promises. Furthermore, he wasn't very interested in power. Lu Yuan didn't believe that he would form a clique for personal gain. Where did the other 4 Soul Douluo come from? Lu Yuan looked at Dugu Bo. When he heard that, Dugu Bo laughed and said, I have to thank Elder Long for this. No wonder you're an ultimate Douluo. These 4 Soul Douluo were rank 79 Soul Sages before this. They had been stuck at the bottleneck for a long time. However, they managed to break through after Elder Long's guidance. They're now working in Elder Long's Enforcement Hall. They're also the leaders of the Wind, Fire, Thunder, and Lightning teams. Oh, so that's the case. Lu Yuan sighed and was enlightened. He was wondering why it was so easy to recruit Soul Douluo. It turned out that 2 of them were close friends with Dugu Bo, while the other 4 were rank 79 Soul Sages. They only managed to break through after Long Xiaoyao's guidance. No wonder he was able to recruit 8 Soul Douluo in a year. So that's the reason. What about the other 2 Soul Douluo? The previous 6 Soul Douluo are in the Soul Tool Hall and the Enforcement Hall. The remaining 2 should be in the Medicine Hall, right? Lu Yuan asked. Yes, the remaining 2 Soul Douluo are in the Medicine Hall. One of them is the sect leader of the Sionra Empire's Zither sect, Fu Yinheng. He's a rank 85 Soul Douluo. The other one is the sect leader of the Nine-Hearted Begonia sect, Yi Lingsu. In the year that master left, Brother Yang and I spent a lot of effort to invite sect leader Yi into the Dragon King Hall. She's temporarily part of the Dragon King Hall. Temporarily? Lu Yuan furrowed his brow. That's because she has a request. She'll only be willing to join the Dragon King Hall if you agree to her request, Douluo said. What request? Lu Yuan asked. She wants the palace master to meet her, Douluo said. Oh. Lu Yuan raised his brow and said, she just wants to meet me. Yes, that's what she said, Douluo confirmed. All right, I'll find a time to meet her after I've made some arrangements. An auxiliary-type soul Douluo is even more valuable than a titled Douluo. It's indeed worth meeting her. Lu Yuan was silent for a moment before he spoke softly. Yes, Elder Douluo, if I'm not wrong, the nine-hearted begonia sect should have 2 or 3 big cats. Apart from Yi Lingsu, I remember that there's only Yi Lingling left, right? Lu Yuan suddenly asked. Yes, Hall Master, Douluo said. Is that so? Lu Yuan tapped his finger on the table and pondered for a moment before he asked, is there anything else? Uncle Yang? That's it. That's basically it. The rest should be the problem of soul tools. Master, since you're back, can you spare some time to craft soul tools? The 7 Treasures Glazed sect has been urging us a few times. Less than 300 of their direct members are equipped, and there are still close to 700 people waiting for soul tools. Sect Master Ning even came over personally for this matter. However, you weren't around, so we couldn't do anything. Only you know how to craft soul tools, Yang Xiaozhe said. Is that so? I understand. I'll take some time to craft some soul tools. Is there anything else? Lu Yuan asked. No, I've said everything I wanted to say. However, there's someone waiting for you, Yang Xiaozhe said. Who? Lu Yuan asked. It's your father, Dean Fei. Over the past year, he has often come to the Dragon King Hall to wait for you. Right now, he's in the Dragon King Hall. Yang Xiaozhe's voice sounded. My father. Lu Yuan's eyes teared up as he thought about the fellows. I'm unfilial. I've made him worry for so long. Uncle Yang, where is my father staying in the Dragon King Hall now? Lu Yuan asked. He's in the enforcement hall. Master, I'll show you the way. Yang Xiaozhe stood up and said. Then I'll have to trouble you, Uncle Yang. Lu Yuan nodded slightly when he heard this. Chapter 499. Let's go, Zhu Qing. Come with me to see father. Let him meet his daughter-in-law. Lu Yuan stood up and extended his hand to Zhu Qing, who was beside him, as he spoke softly. Okay. Zhu Qing placed her hand in Lu Yuan's and gently nodded. Uncle Yang, let's go, Lu Yuan said softly. Yes, Master. Master, please come with me. Yang Xiaozhe nodded and led the way. Lu Yuan held Zhu Qing's hand and followed behind Yang Xiaozhe. Douluo and Ma Xiaodao followed behind Lu Yuan and Yang Xiaozhe. Lu Yuan understood what was going on when he felt the warmth from Zhu Qing's hand and the sticky sweat. He squeezed Zhu Qing's hand and gently asked, Zhu Qing, are you nervous? Zhu Qing gently nodded and said, Lu Yuan, do you think the old man won't like me? You worry too much. My old man is a very nice person. He can't be happier to see you. He must be secretly happy to have such a beautiful daughter-in-law like you, Lu Yuan said with a smile. Really? Zhu Qing glanced at Lu Yuan. Of course it's true. When I took senior sister to see the old man last time, he was very happy. If he can accept senior sister, he will naturally be able to accept you. And you're so obedient, sensible, and natural. The old man will definitely like you, Lu Yuan said. I'm not as good as you say. Zhu Qing blushed slightly from Lu Yuan's praise. She was a little embarrassed. You're just that good. Among Cher, senior sister, and you're the most sensible. You're so smart. Others don't understand you, but I've been with you for so long. How can I not know? Lu Yuan said softly. Indeed, among Chihiro Snow, Hulena, and Zhu Qing, Chihiro Snow was the wisest and the most scheming. However, Zhu Qing was the most sensible and knew how to manage a relationship the best. When he was with Zhu Qing, regardless of whether she was well-behaved or threw a tantrum occasionally, Lu Yuan's heart would always be touched. When he was with her, it was the most authentic and also the most romantic feeling. Moreover, when facing the other two, Zhu Qing did not fight or snatch. Instead, she was reasonable. This made Lu Yuan like her even more. Zhu Zhuqing was definitely a smart woman. In fact, Hu Lena was the most innocent. She wasn't scheming at all. Her emotions could be seen through with a single glance. However, she won in that she didn't compete for anything. She was very open-minded, and only cared about her relationship with Lu Yuan. Speaking of which, the three of them had their own strengths. That was why Lu Yuan couldn't forget them. He loved them deeply. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing's face was still a little red, but the corners of her mouth could not help but curl into a smile. Lu Yuan's praise naturally made her happy. At the same time, the nervousness she had when she was going to see the fellows disappeared. The Law Enforcement Hall. Under Yang Shaojia's lead, Lu Yuan and the others arrived at the Law Enforcement Hall. The Law Enforcement Hall had the fewest people among the three halls. However, they were the most elite. Even the guards on duty at the entrance were Soul Kings. "Greetings, Your Highness. Are you here to see the Dragon Emperor? I can pass the message on your behalf." The guard on duty hurriedly bowed when he saw Yang Shaojia. "There's no need. I'm just leading the way. The Hall Master is here to see Dean Fei." Yang Shaojia glanced at Lu Yuan as he spoke. "Hall Master?" The guard was shocked at first. After that, he looked at Lu Yuan, who was dressed in white. He immediately regained his senses and hurriedly knelt on one knee. "Greetings, Hall Master. There's no need. Where's my father?" Lu Yuan waved his hand and asked. "Dean Fei is playing chess with the Dragon Emperor in the courtyard." The guard replied. "All right, I understand. Continue guarding. Uncle Yang, let's go," Lu Yuan said. "Yes, Hall Master. Yes, Master." They walked into the Law Enforcement Hall and passed through the main hall outside. After passing through a series of empty rooms, they finally arrived at a quiet courtyard. The decorations in the courtyard were very simple. Other than some flowers and plants, there was only a stone table and stone chairs. There was a grape trellis above the stone table. The grape trellis was flourishing, and the dark purple grapes on it shone with an alluring luster. There was a chessboard on the stone table. Two figures were seated on both sides of the table. One of them was wearing a black robe. He wasn't very tall, but he exuded an aura that resembled a towering mountain. It was the Dragon Emperor Douluo, Long Xiaoyaro. The other person was wearing a grey robe. He looked ordinary, and seemed to be around 50 or 60 years old. His aura wasn't very strong, either. However, Lu Yuan's eyes immediately teared up when he saw this person. He was Lu Yuan's adoptive father. He was the former dean of Notting Academy, Fellows. Given Long Xiaoyao's cultivation, he could already sense Lu Yuan's familiar aura when Lu Yuan and the others stepped into the courtyard. A look of joy immediately surfaced on his face. "Master." Long Xiaoyaro put down the chess piece in his hand and stood up. He hurriedly bowed towards Lu Yuan. Long Xiaoyao's actions naturally attracted the attention of the fellows. He immediately turned his attention over. When he saw Lu Yuan's familiar appearance, the fellow's body stiffened. The chess piece in his hand slipped, but he didn't realize it. He was still staring at Lu Yuan. "Elder Long." After nodding at Long Xiaoyaro, Lu Yuan turned towards the fellows. He couldn't hide the agitation in his eyes. "Old man. Abuchi, is it really you?" The fellow's voice was trembling. As he looked at Lu Yuan's tall figure, his eyes were also filled with tears. "It's me, old man. I'm back." Lu Yuan's eyes were filled with tears as he spoke softly. He was also very agitated when he saw the fellows again. The last time he saw the fellows was 5 years ago. 5 years. He hadn't seen the fellows for 5 years. He really missed him. At the same time, he couldn't help but scold himself. He wasn't able to be filial to the fellows. Instead, he had to worry about him over the past year. He really deserved to die. As he looked at the figure of the fellows, Lu Yuan's heart trembled. At the same time, he told himself that he had to be filial to the fellows in the coming days so that he could have a more comfortable life. He had to fulfill his responsibility as a son. "You're finally back. It's good that you're back, the fellows said softly. He sized up Lu Yuan carefully and revealed a look of gratification in his eyes. You've grown up a lot over the years. You've also matured a lot. You're handsome and talented. Good, very good. As he looked at Lu Yuan, the fellow's eyes were filled with love and concern. Chapter 500. Lu Yuan felt warmth in his heart as he looked at the care and concern in the fellow's eyes. This was a father's love for his son. This kind of love was selfless and pure. It was so desirable and joyful. This was something that only the fellows could give him. It was something that Lu Yuan would never be able to experience from anyone else. Every father hoped that his son would become successful. This was the greatest hope in the heart of every father. The fellow's eyes contained the gratification of a father as he watched his son grow. The fellow's was the happiest to see Lu Yuan grow to such an extent. His son was brimming with talent, and had even become the leader of a superpower like the Dragon King Palace. The fellow's was filled with pride. This was his son, a true prodigy. Uncle Yang, Elder Long, the two of you can leave first. I have something to say to father alone. Lu Yuan took in a deep breath and suppressed the agitation in his heart as he spoke softly to Long Xiaoyaro and the others. Yes, master. Long Xiaoyaro and the rest clasped their hands together as they heard Lu Yuan's words. After that, they all left the courtyard. Lu Yuan held Zhu Zhuqing's hand and walked in front of the fellows. Who is this lady? The fellows couldn't help but ask as he looked at Zhu Zhuqing, who exuded a cold aura. This is Zhu Zhuqing, my girlfriend. She's also one of your daughters-in-law. Lu Yuan smiled as he said. Zhuqing, greet her. Lu Yuan said. Hello, Uncle Fei. Zhu Zhuqing bowed slightly as she greeted him. Hello. The fellows nodded at Zhu Zhuqing as he replied. One of your daughters-in-law? The fellows retracted his gaze from Zhu Zhuqing and looked at Lu Yuan with a weird expression. However, there was a trace of unconcealable joy in his eyes. You're quite capable. You're dating several people. However, this lady is not bad. You have good taste. That's right. Why don't you take a look at what kind of person your son is? He's extremely talented and handsome. How could I take a fancy to an ordinary girl? Listening to the fellows' words, Lu Yuan smiled faintly with a proud expression on his face. With such excellent girlfriends like Hu Lena and Zhu Zhuqing, what was wrong with being proud in his heart? If you have the ability, then you can be so willful. If you're not convinced, then go ahead and look for her. I haven't seen you in so many years, but your shameless narcissism is still the same as when you were young. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, the fellows couldn't help but shake his head and smile helplessly. When he was young, this kid was very narcissistic. It was just that at that time, his cold and unapproachable appearance was too deceptive, so outsiders couldn't tell. However, anyone who knew him well would know that he was a narcissist. It wasn't the first time he had seen this kid look at himself in the mirror and say that he was really handsome. Now, it seemed that this brat's narcissism was getting more and more serious. When he praised himself, his face didn't turn red, his heart didn't skip a beat, and he didn't even blink. It seemed like he had already reached an even higher realm. This old man was ashamed of his inferiority. Hee. Hearing the fellows' words, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and didn't care at all. The fellows was one of the people closest to him. In front of him, Lu Yuan didn't need to hide anything at all. In front of him, Lu Yuan would always be that child who didn't grow up. Did a child need to hide in front of his own father? Did he need to pretend? There was no need. There was no need at all. Come, Zhuqing, let's sit down first. In front of the fellows, Lu Yuan naturally wouldn't be polite. He pulled Zhu Zhuqing and sat down on the stone bench. Zhu Zhuqing sat upright on the stone bench. Her delicate body was straight, her legs were close together, and her pair of jade hands were placed on her knees. She looked like a well-bred young lady. The fellows couldn't help but secretly nod his head. It seemed that his daughter-in-law's upbringing wasn't ordinary. Moreover, her personality was quiet, her temperament was cold, and her appearance was top-notch. She was really a good match for his son. His son was narcissistic, but his taste was really good. Lu Yuan withdrew the smile on his face and looked at the fellows. His voice was filled with concern. Old man, have you gotten used to living here? I'm quite used to it. Moreover, this Heavendo Imperial City is indeed the capital of the Heavendo Empire. It really can't be compared to our small Notting city. When I first arrived, I was stunned by the prosperity of this place. Sigh, in the end, I still haven't seen enough of the world. The fellows sighed softly and said, Ah, Heavendo Imperial City is just like that. If there's a chance, I'll bring you to the martial spirit city. That's what I call prosperous. Lu Yuan laughed softly. There's no need for that. I'm already very happy that you have such intentions. Although you're the Pope's disciple, the martial spirit palace doesn't belong to you alone. It's not convenient for me to go there. This Dragon King Hall is pretty good. I'm very comfortable living here. The fellows said. It's good that you're comfortable living here. This Dragon King Hall is mine, which means it's yours. In the past, I didn't have time to go back to see you. Now, I just want to bring you to my side and serve you well. Looking at the fellows, Lu Yuan's expression became extremely serious. Other than me, there's also Zhuqing and Cher here. They're all your daughters-in-law. They'll be filial to you with me. Cher? That girl who looks like a fairy, right? The fellows asked. Yes, you've seen Cher? Hearing the fellows' words, Lu Yuan's heart surged with curiosity. I've seen her a long time ago. In the past year that you weren't around, this girl would come to see me once a month. What a good girl. Brat, you can't let her down. The fellows sighed softly. Yes, I know. I won't let Cher down. Hearing the fellows' words, Lu Yuan's heart was moved. He didn't expect that Cher had already met the fellows when he wasn't around. Moreover, she came to see him once a month and cared about him. Where else could he find such a good girl? Lu Yuan decided in his heart that he must treat Chihiro Snow better. Once I've arranged some things properly, I'll go to the Crown Prince's palace to find Cher and accompany her properly. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Oh, right. Isn't there still your senior sister, Nana? If you have time, bring her over for this old man to see. That girl is also very cute. The fellows laughed. Yes, I will. Senior sister is in Martial Spirit City. After the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament ends, I'll bring her over to see you. There's also your fourth daughter-in-law, Jiu Yuana. I'll also bring her to see you. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. There's a fourth daughter-in-law? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, the fellows opened his eyes wide. My God, this son of mine is really going to ascend to the heavens. He's actually stepping on 4 boats. Isn't he afraid that the boat will capsize? Furthermore, it's not good to be too fickle. As his father, I have to scold him properly. I can't let him mess around anymore. Otherwise, if this brat finds more than 10 daughters-in-law one day, that would be a huge joke. The fellows thought in his heart. Chapter 501. Abuchi, there's something I have to tell you. Looking at Lu Yuan, the fellows sighed and said softly. What's the matter? Lu Yuan asked. It's about your girlfriends. You already have 4 girlfriends. That's enough. There should be a limit to how much a man can be unfaithful. Don't provoke other girls for no reason in the future. You have to think more about Cher and Zhuqing. They will also be sad and sad. Since they are with you, you have to take good care of them. Before you do anything, think more about them. Don't do everything according to your whims. You have been assertive since you were a child, and you have a sense of pride in your heart. These little girls definitely can't control you, but this doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want. Men can be affectionate, but they can't be fickle. Do you understand? Looking at Lu Yuan, the fellows said with a serious expression and a serious tone. I understand, old man. Listening to the fellow's words, Lu Yuan was silent for a moment, then nodded and said. It's good that you understand. This old man is doing this for your own good. As a man, you have to have a sense of responsibility. Everyone likes beautiful women, but you can't fall in love with them. It's their business if others like you, but you can't take the initiative to provoke other girls. Cher, Zhuqing, Nana, and the others are all good girls. You should be satisfied with having them. Human desires are endless. You can't let your desires control your rationality. As a person, you have to know how to restrain your bad desires and cherish the people in front of you. The fellows said and sighed softly. Yes, old man, you're right. I should restrain myself. I've been too indulgent these days. Listening to the fellow's words and thinking about his own experiences these days, Lu Yuan couldn't help but nod. Indeed, Cher and the others' obedience made him a little arrogant and unrealistic. Now that he was reminded by the fellows, Lu Yuan suddenly came back to his senses and sobered up a little. Those unrealistic fantasies also faded a little. There are some things that cannot be touched, Lu Yuan warned himself again in his heart. Well, it's good that you're aware of your own problems. This old man can only help you with this little thing. Now that you've grown up and become stronger, this old man can't help you much. The fellows smiled faintly, but there was a trace of regret and disappointment in his smile. Now that his son had grown to this stage, as a father, he could only watch him. Even if he wanted to do something for him, he was powerless. Who said so? Old man, you can be of great help to me. By the way, old man, have you been to the school I opened? I think the position of dean is very suitable for you. Don't you like being a dean and enjoy the feeling of controlling the students? You can be the dean of the academy that I opened. It's not that I'm arrogant, but after winning the championship of the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament, our Heavenly Star Academy will definitely be in the limelight. When the time comes, there will definitely be many students wanting to enter our academy. Our academy will also rapidly expand. You being the dean of my academy will be much more impressive than being in that elementary Soul Master Academy in Notting City. Lu Yuan said with a smile. I've been to your Heavenly Star Academy a long time ago. I'm now the dean. The fellows smiled and said. Was it Elder Long and the others who brought you there? Lu Yuan asked. Yes, they said that you wanted me to be the dean before you left, so they did it for you. I'm ashamed to say that the vice dean, Liu Erlong, is a soul sage, but I'm only a rank 46 soul ancestor. If they let me be the dean, I always feel that I'm not worthy of the position. The fellows said. You're my father. If anyone dares to say that you're not worthy of the position, I'll kill them. Hearing the fellow's words, Lu Yuan's eyes widened, revealing a murderous aura. Abuchi, calm down a little. Don't be so vicious. No one said anything about me, it's just what I feel. The teachers in the academy are all pretty good people. Although that Dean Liu has a bad temper, he's also a reasonable person. Thanks to the series of measures you've taken, you've won the favor of many students and teachers. They still respect me very much. The fellows said. Is that so? That's good. The vicious aura in Lu Yuan's eyes gradually receded, and he returned to his usual calmness. Although he didn't get angry often, if anyone dared to point fingers at the people around him, he would let them know the meaning of cruelty. Fortunately, these people were still sensible and didn't cause any trouble. Old man, since you've been the dean of the academy for a year, then you should be clear about the outstanding students in the academy, right? I'm preparing to form a battle team. Other than the people I've chosen, I'm still missing a few people. Old man, do you have any good recommendations? Lu Yuan asked. Who did you choose? The fellows asked. One for me, one for Zhu Qing, the granddaughter of Senior Dugu, Dugu Yang, and Ning Rongrong of the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect. That's 4. If we want to participate in the competition, we're still missing 3 people. Are there any outstanding students in the inner courtyard right now? Lu Yuan asked. There are 2 people here who are pretty good. One is called Fu Qinsheng. He's 18 years old and has a martial spirit of the 6-string magic zither. He's a level 42 soul ancestor. The other is called Ling Wei. He's 19 years old and has a martial spirit of the Dreadclaw bear. He's a level 41 soul ancestor. The 2 of them were originally from the Dragon King Palace, but later joined the Heavenly Star Academy. Moreover, they directly entered the inner courtyard. Other than them, there are the students of the Heavenly Star Academy. They're all soul elders above level 35. They're Tai Long, Huang Yuan, Jing Ling, and Jiang Zhu. If you want to form a battle team, you should choose a few from these people. So it's like that. Lu Yuan tapped his chin with his right hand. Fu Qinsheng and Ling Wei will join the battle team. After all, they're both soul ancestors, and both of them have top-notch martial spirits. This way, we'll have 6 people. When the time comes, I'll choose one from Huang Yuan and the other 3. For now, we'll have 6 people. Lu Yuan said softly. All right, I'll leave these matters to you. This old man won't care so much. However, Abuchi, do you really have the confidence to become the champion? You should know that the participating soul masters are all very strong. Let's not talk about others, but the Heaven Do Imperial Academy, the 4 Elemental Academies, the Star Do Imperial Academy, and your Martial Soul Palace's Martial Soul Palace battle team are all not simple. Can you do it? The fellows looked at Lu Yuan. Hearing this, Lu Yuan laughed. Even Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but smile. It seemed that this father of the fellows really didn't understand his son's strength at all. But thinking about it, they hadn't seen each other for more than 5 years. Although he knew that Lu Yuan was very strong from Long Xiaoyaro and Liu Erlong, Lu Yuan was only 14 years old. In the eyes of the fellows, even if Lu Yuan had matured, he wouldn't be ridiculously strong. Therefore, he naturally had his doubts about whether Lu Yuan could become the champion. This wasn't strange at all. Chapter 502. Abuchi, Zhuqing, what are you two laughing at? Looking at the smiling Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing, the fellows had a puzzled expression on his face. What? Was his words that funny? Lu Yuan withdrew the smile on his face and gently held Zhu Zhuqing's jade-like hand. He gently squeezed it and asked, Old man, do you know what rank your daughter-in-law is now? Hearing Lu Yuan's words and feeling her jade-like hand being gently squeezed by Lu Yuan, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but blush. She and Lu Yuan were naturally very intimate, but Zhu Zhuqing was still a little embarrassed to be so intimate in front of an elder like the fellows. What rank is our daughter-in-law? Looking at the shy Zhu Zhuqing, the fellows couldn't help but ask. Your daughter-in-law is already a rank 51 Soul King, and she also has a 10,000-year 4th ring. Her combat strength far surpasses those of the same level, Lu Yuan said with a smile. Rank 51 Soul King? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, the fellow's face surged with shock. Zhu Zhuqing didn't look very old, but she was already a Soul King. How old is our daughter-in-law this year? The fellows continued to ask. Zhuqing is the same age as me, but a few months younger than me. She's also 14 years old this year, Lu Yuan said. Hiss. The fellows sucked in a breath of cold air. A 14-year-old rank 51 Soul King, what kind of monstrous talent is this? This daughter-in-law is too strong. What about you, kid? As if thinking of something, the fellow's gaze shifted to Lu Yuan. Me? I'm at the peak of rank 57 now. I should be able to break through to rank 58 in a month or 2, Lu Yuan said with a smile. Gulp. The fellows couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Reaching the peak of rank 57 at the age of 14? Would he be able to reach level 58 soon? What kind of godly son was he? He was a little too strong. How is it, old man? My strength can be considered passable, right? Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. Not bad, not bad. As expected of my son, you're amazing. The fellows retracted his shock, and his face was full of pride. After all, he had such a talented son, and as his father, he also felt honored. So you're worried that we won't be able to win the championship? Lu Yuan smiled and said, For me, the championship is already in my bag. Lu Yuan's tone was very calm, but it was full of determination and contained strong confidence. Looking at the confident and spirited Lu Yuan, the fellows felt gratified. The fledgling of the past had already grown into an eagle that could soar high in the sky. As his father, he felt happy for him from the bottom of his heart. Then I'll wait for the day you become the champion. The fellows chuckled. What are you going to do next? In the open space outside the Dragon King Hall, Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing were strolling hand in hand. The Dragon King Hall's encampment was a good place with mountains and rivers, and the scenery was especially pleasant. Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing held hands as they swam down the stream, admiring the beautiful scenery of the countryside. There was a sense of joy and contentment in their hearts. What are you going to do? Facing Zhu Zhuqing's question, Lu Yuan pondered for a moment and said, I'm going to rest in the Dragon King Hall for 2 days to understand the basic situation. Uncle Yang only gave me a rough idea, and I have to see the specific things myself. Wait until I understand more about the Dragon King Hall, then go to the academy. The old man is in charge of the academy, so I don't have to worry about the basic situation. The main thing is to build a team. There are less than 3 months before the start of the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament, so I need to prepare well. Even though I can win the entire tournament by myself, I'll be fine. Lu Yuan chuckled. Narcissus. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but roll her eyes. This guy really exposed his true nature after a few serious sentences. Haha. Lu Yuan chuckled and didn't care about Zhu Zhuqing's words at all. So what if I'm narcissistic? I have the ability to be narcissistic. Sigh, I can't help it. Who asked me to be so strong? Even if I want to keep a low profile, my strength won't allow it. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Lu Yuan, I realized that the old man is really a very good person. As they walked, Zhu Zhuqing's voice sounded again. Why do you say that? Lu Yuan asked with a smile after hearing Zhu Zhuqing's words. The old man is very good. Not only is he approachable, but he's also very reasonable. Especially in order to prevent you from taking the initiative to provoke girls. What he said is really reasonable. Men can be sentimental, but they can't be fickle. It's exactly what I thought. Zhu Zhuqing said in a brisk tone. Hearing this, the corner of Lu Yuan's mouth twitched slightly. So it's these words that moved you. So you're here to remind me again, to remind me of what I've said before. This little girl has a lot of thoughts. Lu Yuan, don't you think the old man's words are very reasonable? Zhu Zhuqing blinked her big eyes and looked at Lu Yuan seriously. Yes, it's very reasonable. Lu Yuan rolled his eyes helplessly and said, Kitten, you don't have to deliberately remind me secretly. I won't find anyone else. You can rest assured. Humph, I'm just afraid that you'll be the same as before. You said that there are only 3 of us, and then Jiu Yuana came. You have a criminal record. If I don't remind you, I can't rest assured. Zhu Zhuqing snorted and said. Without waiting for Lu Yuan to answer, Zhu Zhuqing's voice sounded again. At most, I'll let you add another rongrong. As for the rest, don't think about it. If you dare to find someone else, I'll bite you to death. As she spoke, Zhu Zhuqing turned around and glared at Lu Yuan with a ferocious look. Poochie. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's pretentious fierce look, Lu Yuan couldn't help but laugh. Zhu Zhuqing was really cute like this. Gently pulling Zhu Zhuqing into his arms and gently hugging Zhu Zhuqing's waist, Lu Yuan said softly, Don't worry, kitten, this time I'm serious. I won't provoke other girls. Remember what you said. Don't forget, you already have 4 of us. You have to think more for us. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. Yes, I won't forget. Lu Yuan said softly. Suddenly, Lu Yuan's gaze turned, as if he thought of something. His gaze became gentle. Zhuqing, after this Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament ends, I'll bring you to cancel the engagement. Okay. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing's body trembled. Then, she nodded gently. Her eyes sparkled with tears. She exerted strength in her arms and brought herself closer to Lu Yuan's embrace. Chapter 503. In the blink of an eye, another 2 days had passed. Finally, I'm back at the academy. I wonder what the current situation of the academy is like. Looking at the familiar signboard of the Heavenly Star Academy in front of him, Lu Yuan sighed softly and said, Why don't you go in and take a look? The fellows said with a faint smile. That's right, No matter how much I sigh here, it's not as real as going in and seeing it with my own eyes. Listening to the fellow's words, Lu Yuan gently nodded and said, "Then where are you going to take a look? Do you want to walk around the academy first or go to the inner courtyard first?" The fellows asked. "Let's go to the inner courtyard first and take care of business first," Lu Yuan said. "Okay, then let's go to the inner courtyard first." The fellows slightly nodded and said, "Old man, the academy has changed a lot. It seems that it has expanded a lot." Walking on the quiet path, looking at the academy that was very different from a year ago, Lu Yuan couldn't help but softly say, "Yes, in this year, the Heavenly Star Academy has expanded a lot. In the outer courtyard, there are mainly a few more teaching buildings and some simple training measures. The real change is in the inner courtyard. Not only the new teaching buildings, dormitory buildings, training grounds, and so on have been completed, even the training grounds have been built several times. It cost a lot of money, and these funds were all provided by the Dragon King Palace." While walking, the fellows said, "How many students are there in the inner courtyard now?" Lu Yuan asked. "There aren't many students, only 20 or so. After all, the conditions that you issued at the beginning were quite harsh, and not many people could meet them," the fellows said. "These conditions are already very loose. Now that the Heavenly Star Academy is still in the initial development stage, the conditions are relatively loose. In the future, when the development is more or less complete, the conditions of the inner courtyard will naturally be changed. At the very least, one has to be a soul grandmaster before the age of 12, or a soul ancestor before the age of 18 to be qualified to enter the inner courtyard." Lu Yuan shook his head and said, "The current inner academy is still far from my expectations." Hearing that, the fellows couldn't help but roll his eyes. His son's requirements weren't low. Only those who had reached the soul ancestor level before the age of 18 would have the qualifications to enter the inner courtyard. It had to be known that even the current members of the various great academies' battle teams might not be able to meet Lu Yuan's requirements. For example, the fellows had heard of the captain of the God Wind Academy, Feng Xiaotian. He was only 24 years old and was already at level 44. He was already known as a genius, but it was certain that he wouldn't be a soul ancestor by the time he turned 18. According to Lu Yuan's standards, he didn't even have the qualifications to enter the inner court. This caused the fellows to involuntarily smack his lips. If they really followed his son's standards, how many people could the inner court recruit? Even if there were only 2 or 3 kittens left. However, the fellows could understand why Lu Yuan had such high expectations. After all, Lu Yuan had become a rank 57 Soul King at the age of 14. Even Zhu Zhuqing, who was beside him, had become a rank 51 Soul King at the age of 14. Moreover, according to Abuchi, his other 2 daughters-in-law were only 18 or 19 years old, but one of them was close to becoming a Soul Emperor, and the other was already a Soul Emperor. Being in contact with such people all year round, his son's standards were naturally high. It was naturally understandable for him to make such a request. However, although it was understandable, when Lu Yuan said that, the old man still felt a faint sadness pervading the air. Compared to these young people, he, an old man, really lived in the belly of a dog. He was already over 60 years old, but he was only a rank 46 soul ancestor. His son was only 14 years old, but he was already a rank 57 soul ancestor. His son was too outstanding, and for his father, it was really a huge pressure. The group of people walked slowly. Soon, they stepped into the inner courtyard. Just like what the fellows had said, the inner court had really changed a lot. Tall teaching buildings rose from the ground, and the wide field and clean dormitories made people's eyes light up. Just the first impression was enough to let people know that this academy wasn't simple. At the very least, the basic facilities were in place. However, when he thought about how there were only 20 or so students in such a big inner court, the corner of Lu Yuan's mouth couldn't help but twitch slightly. He didn't know when the inner court students would be able to fill up all the teaching buildings and dormitories. However, if he thought about it based on his previous standards, it was probably impossible in this lifetime. If this inner court was completely filled up, it wouldn't be a problem to fill up a few thousand people. How could there be a few thousand people in the inner court? It was obvious that it was impossible. However, even if this was the case, Lu Yuan wouldn't change his mind. It was better to have nothing than to have something substandard. The inner court was a place to nurture geniuses, and only geniuses were qualified to enter the inner court. If the standards were lowered, then what was the point of establishing an inner court? Since the inner court was established, then the necessary strict standards were indispensable. If we walk further, we will reach the teacher's office building. My office is also there. The inner court is now under the charge of Vice President Liu Erlong. All the students' information is in her hands. If you want to form a battle team, you can ask Vice President Liu Erlong's opinion on how to choose the remaining 1 or 2 people. She is very familiar with these things, said the fellows. Okay, got it. Hearing this, Lu Yuan nodded. The few of them walked, and soon, they arrived at the office building. The fellows and Liu Erlong's offices were next door, both on the 3rd floor. Following the fellows, Lu Yuan and the others went up to the 3rd floor. Knock knock. When they arrived at the door of Liu Erlong's office, the fellows gently knocked on the door. Please come in. In the office, Liu Erlong's voice sounded. Creak. The door was pushed open, and Lu Yuan and the others walked in. Hearing everyone's footsteps, Liu Erlong, who was sitting in front of the desk, raised her head. Her gaze swept past the fellows, and then stopped on Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing. Lu Yuan, Zhu Zhuqing, you're back? Liu Erlong's face carried a trace of surprise, and at the same time, a faint joy. A year ago, her relationship with Lu Yuan was quite good. Seeing Lu Yuan again, she was a little happy. Yes, Erlong, we're back. Seeing the surprised look on Liu Erlong's face, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and said, Where have you been this year? There was no news at all. If not for the news from the Dragon Emperor Douluo, I would have thought something had happened to you. Liu Erlong said. A year ago, something urgent happened. Zhuqing and I couldn't get away, so we could only leave temporarily. Now that the matter has been resolved, we naturally came back. We've made Erlong worry, and we're a little embarrassed. And this year, we've also troubled Erlong with the matters of Heavenly Star Academy. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Chapter 504. What are you talking about? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Liu Erlong looked at Lu Yuan with dissatisfaction. You're already calling me Sister Erlong, why are you still treating me like an outsider? As for helping to manage Star Academy, this is my duty as the vice principal, you don't need to thank me. Yes, Sister Erlong is right. Looking at Liu Erlong's dissatisfied eyes, Lu Yuan touched his nose and said with a smile. How long do you plan to stay this time? Don't tell me you're going to leave again after a few days. You bought the academy, and other than managing it at the beginning, you've been a hands-off shopkeeper for the past year. How can you be the dean? Liu Erlong glanced at Lu Yuan and said. He. Hearing Liu Erlong's words, Lu Yuan laughed, his face was a little embarrassed. However, his face was very thick, and he recovered in an instant. This time I'm definitely going to stay for a long time, and the current vice principal is not me. In the future, the academy's matters will be handed over to my father. I see that in this year, the academy has developed very quickly, and this is all thanks to my father and Sister Erlong. With you guys managing the academy, I'm very relieved. Lu Yuan said with a smile. So you're going to continue to be a vice principal? Liu Erlong rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan and said in a bad mood. He. Lu Yuan laughed and did not answer. Looking at Lu Yuan, who was pretending to be dead, Liu Erlong could not help but helplessly shake her head. To be associated with such a person who did not care about anything, it was really difficult. She could only work a little harder. Speak, what did you come to the academy to do this time? Liu Erlong asked softly. Nothing much, I haven't been back for more than a year, and I miss you a lot, so I came to the academy to take a look, and also to see Sister Erlong. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Come on, why would you specially come to see me? Liu Erlong rolled her eyes and said, You don't come to the temple without a reason. If you come, you must have a reason, and if you don't have a reason, you can't be found. After knowing you for more than a year, I understand your personality a little. If you have something to say, just say it. Why are you hiding it? Haha, Sister Erlong's taste is indeed unique. This time, I actually have something to do, Lu Yuan chuckled. I knew it. Just say it, Liu Erlong said. Actually, this isn't a personal matter of mine. It's related to the academy. The Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament is about to begin, and it's time for our academy to form a team. That's why I'm here, Lu Yuan said. Forming a battle team? This is an important matter. If you didn't come back, I would have arranged this matter in a few days. It's good that you're back, so I'll leave this matter to you. Furthermore, with your personality, I'm sure you've already made your preparations, Liu Erlong said. Yes, the members of my battle team are me, Zhu Qing, Du Gu Yang, Ning Rongrong, Fu Qinsheng, and Ling Wei. We already have 6 members, and we're still missing one. Of course, we still need to prepare 1 or 2 substitutes. However, I don't know much about the strength of the students in the inner courtyard. My father said that Sister Erlong is in charge of the inner courtyard, so she's very familiar with this aspect. So, I came to ask her about this matter, Lu Yuan said with a smile. I see. Liu Erlong tapped her chin and said, I have to say that you came at the right time. 2 days ago, a 13-year-old girl entered the inner courtyard. Although she's only 13, she's already at rank 45. She's a genius among geniuses. I think it's a good idea to let her be the last member of your battle team. Oh! After hearing Liu Erlong's words, Lu Yuan was a little surprised. A 13-year-old rank 45 soul ancestor. What kind of talent was that? It was a little terrifying. She could already be compared to Zhu Zhuqing, who had consumed many natural treasures. According to her age and strength, she was definitely a demon-like existence. What's her name? Is she a genius from that sect? Lu Yuan had a curious look on his face. Her name is Wang Qiu. Liu Erlong smiled faintly and said, what's more coincidental is that her martial soul is exactly the same as yours. It's a golden dragon. During the inner courtyard's assessment, she was very strong. Even I was shocked then. After hearing Liu Erlong's words, Lu Yuan suddenly asked, what did you say her name was? There was an intense look of astonishment on his face. Wang Qiu. Why? Do you know her? Liu Erlong smiled as she asked. If her name is Wang Qiu, and her martial soul is a golden dragon, then I know her. There was a bitter smile on Lu Yuan's face. He really didn't expect this girl to be so daring as to run out of the Great Stardow Forest. I don't know if Qiu ran out on her own, or if Nea allowed her to. It's fine if Nea allowed her to run out, because she'll definitely leave some protective measures behind. However, it'll be troublesome if she snuck out. No, I have to find her quickly. Lu Yuan thought to himself. What's her relationship with you? Your martial souls are the same. Your relationship shouldn't be shallow, right? Liu Erlong asked. She's my younger sister, Lu Yuan said. Younger sister? Once those words were said, the crowd couldn't help but be stunned. They were all astonished. You have a younger sister? Zhu Zhuqing stared at Lu Yuan with her big, black eyes. There was a tinge of astonishment in her eyes as she looked at Lu Yuan. She had followed Lu Yuan for so long, but she didn't know that Lu Yuan had a younger sister. Yes, Qiu is indeed my younger sister. She has a similar bloodline as me. However, she's always been with Na, so I've never mentioned her to you. I just didn't expect her to run out on her own, Lu Yuan said. Is she with Jiu Yuana? Zhu Zhuqing muttered to herself. After that, she looked at Lu Yuan and said, Wang Qiu should be here to find you. Yes, I'm her only relative outside. Lu Yuan nodded and said. Erlong, where is Qiu now? Lu Yuan asked. She should be in class. The inner courtyard students should be in theory class. Do you want me to bring you over to take a look? Liu Erlong said. Yes, let's go and take a look. We can also take this opportunity to decide on the team in front of all the inner courtyard students, Lu Yuan said. All right, You can decide on these matters. Liu Erlong stood up from her chair as she spoke. Let's go. I'll bring you over to take a look. Okay. Lu Yuan nodded gently. They followed Liu Erlong and walked towards the school building. The school building wasn't far from the office building. Under Liu Erlong's lead, Lu Yuan and the rest quickly arrived at the school building. Chapter 505. The teaching building is very large, but there are only 2 classrooms that are in use. According to your standards back then, the students of the inner courtyard are mainly divided into 2 classes. One class is for students whose soul power has reached rank 25 before the age of 14. These students are currently in class on the first floor, and there are about 10 of them. The other class is for students who have reached rank 35 before the age of 20. These students are in class on the second floor, and there are also about 10 of them. Are you going to the first floor or the second floor? Liu Erlong asked. Of course I'm going to the second floor. I'm here to form a battle team, so I naturally have to pick the ones with high soul power. Lu Yuan speechlessly looked at Liu Erlong and said. Okay, then let's go to the second floor first. Liu Erlong was a little embarrassed by Lu Yuan's gaze, so she tilted her head slightly and suggested. Okay. Hearing Liu Erlong's words, Lu Yuan nodded. The group directly went to the second floor. Are they still in class? Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask when he saw a middle-aged teacher talking in the classroom with saliva flying everywhere. Yes, but it's okay. Just interrupt them for a bit. Liu Erlong said as she prepared to knock on the door. No, let them finish their class first. We'll wait here for a bit. I think it's about time for class to end. Lu Yuan said. Okay, since you said so, then we'll wait outside. Seeing that Lu Yuan wasn't in a hurry, Liu Erlong naturally didn't mind. Waiting was fine. Very quickly, half an hour passed. In front of the podium, the middle-aged teacher organized the teaching materials in his hands and prepared to end the class. At this moment, a knocking sound came from the door. Everyone's gaze moved over. The door was pushed open, and Liu Erlong's figure appeared. Vice Dean Liu. The middle-aged teacher's face had a trace of surprise. He didn't think that the person who knocked on the door would be Liu Erlong. Vice Dean Liu, is something the matter? The middle-aged teacher asked. It's not me. It's the people behind me. Liu Erlong said as she moved aside. Lu Yuan and the fellows' figures appeared. Dean Fei, Dean Liu? Looking at Lu Yuan, the middle-aged teacher's face was filled with shock. Dean Liu, you're back? This middle-aged teacher was also a Soul King. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been qualified to teach the inner courtyard students, even though he only taught theory. A teacher with the strength of a Soul King like him had some status in the academy. He naturally recognized Lu Yuan, the former dean of the academy. Yes, I just came back. There are some things I need to announce to the students of the inner yard. Can we talk inside? Lu Yuan said. Of course. Dean Liu, Dean Fei, and Vice Dean Liu, please come in, the middle-aged teacher hurriedly said. Lu Yuan took the lead and walked into the classroom. Zhu Zhuqing followed beside him, while Liu Erlong and the fellows followed behind. Just as Liu Erlong had said, there were less than 10 students in the entire inner court who were above level 35. To be honest, it was a little shabby. The moment Lu Yuan appeared, 3 pairs of eyes stared straight at Lu Yuan. Following the gazes, Lu Yuan took in the owners of the 3 pairs of eyes. One of them came from Dugu Yang, the granddaughter of the poisoned Douluo. During the past year, her powers had also improved significantly, and she was already at rank 47. The 5 spirit ascension pills that Tang Wulin had given her had definitely helped her a lot. After all, a year ago, Dugu Yang had directly broken through to rank 42 after obtaining her 4th soul ring under the effects of the Earth Dragon Golden Melon. With the 5 spirit ascension pills that increased her soul power by 3 ranks, she was already at rank 45. In addition to her own cultivation over the past year, it was understandable that she had reached rank 47. Rank 47 Dugu Yang, coupled with her evolved jade-scaled dragon martial soul, made Dugu Yang's strength rather eye-catching. She was much stronger than she was in the original novel. His gaze swept past Dugu Yang and landed on another figure. This figure was wearing a light green dress. She had long brown hair and a pretty oval face. A pair of sapphire-like eyes were looking straight at him. There was a strong fluctuation in her eyes. This person who was staring straight at Lu Yuan was naturally none other than Ning Rongrong. They hadn't seen each other for a year, and Ning Rongrong seemed to have lost a lot of weight. However, she had become a rank 42 soul ancestor in just over 2 months. One had to realize that she had only been at rank 29 when she had eaten the beautiful silk tulip. Even after breaking through, she would have only been at rank 35 or 36 at most. Now, she was already at rank 42. Excluding the 1 rank that her soul rings already had, she had improved by 5 or 6 ranks in the past year. Even with the help of the immortal herb, she had most likely expended a lot of effort to achieve such a drastic improvement. Looking at the trace of heroic spirit between Ning Rongrong's brows, Lu Yuan could not help but be a little enlightened. This girl must have grown a lot in the past year. Her entire person seemed to have an additional sense of determination. Furthermore, Lu Yuan couldn't resist her sparkling eyes, and he immediately averted his gaze to look at the last person who was looking at him. It was a girl who appeared to be around 12 or 13 years old. She wore a long blue dress, and her long golden hair fell straight down to her waist. Her face was as fair as jade, and her skin was as fair as snow. She had a high nose bridge, exquisite facial features, and a pair of pinkish blue eyes that were slightly open. This was a very beautiful girl. Among the people Lu Yuan had ever seen, only Jiyu Yuana and Chen Runxue could compare to her in terms of appearance. As for the others, they were all slightly inferior. This girl's appearance was definitely one of the best in the world. Lu Yuan had never seen this girl before, but from the familiar bloodline fluctuations on her body and the familiar look of attachment in her pinkish blue eyes, he had already guessed the identity of this girl. This girl in front of him was the 3-eyed golden lion in human form. She was also his sister, Wang Qiu-er. Lu Yuan couldn't help but glare at Wang Qiu-er when he saw how she was sizing him up with a longing look in her eyes. She was really bold. She actually dared to come to the human world. Didn't she know how dangerous the human world was? Lu Yuan decided that he would have a good talk with her later. Wang Qiu-er was shocked when Lu Yuan glared at her. She knew that her brother must have recognized her, and was still angry at her for running out of the Great Star Do forest. Wang Qiu-er rolled her eyes, and her face scrunched up as she looked pitifully at Lu Yuan. Her brother was very soft-hearted. If she did this, he wouldn't be angry at her. She had only found out about this when she asked Sister Na. Sister Na said that this was the most effective method for her brother. Wang Qiu-er put on a pitiful expression as she thought to herself, "You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.